Hello, Lions. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to you all. Welcome to this Lions Virtual Symposium dedicated to Leo Lions, Young Lions, and New Lions. The first Leo Club was chartered in 1957. It has been more than 60 years since, but we are still speaking of 1.4 million lions throughout the world, and Leos are neither accounted nor included. There are at present more than 7,000 Leo clubs in the world, with approximately 140,000 Leos serving in more than 150 countries. Unlike the US or Canada, where they're predominantly Alpha Leos, Europe has also a strong Leo membership, but based dominantly on Omega Leos. They are so proud of their service and of the European way and enjoying so much their membership that they are not transferring their membership and joining Lions at the desired level. Diversifying and rejuvenating membership is our focus today. Once they join, Leos, Young Lions, or Leo Lions and New Lions need to be properly approached and given enough opportunities to be empowered, accepted, and appreciated. It appears that a paradigm shift is necessary to bridge the gap and go beyond the horizon. Leos, Young Lions, or Leo Lions and New Lions are our future. This Lions Virtual Symposium will be debating how learning empowers the organization and looks for answers to the following questions. What are the needs the Leos, Young Lions, or Leo Lions and New Lions have? Are there enough learning and leadership opportunities for them? How to make them feel more engaged and want to stay with the association? How to make Lions more attractive for young people and new members? What tools and programs we have that are available for them to facilitate their growth within the association and with the association. At today's virtual symposium, we will have as keynote speaker, Vice President Dr. Patty Hill from Canada. We will have past International Director Nesim Levi from Turkey, MD 118 Turkey, to set the scene for us. And we will also have experienced Lions leaders from Europe combined with staff representatives to debate all the aspects that are important for our association. Learning, leadership, membership, and how to address, how to make them more accepted with Leos, Young Lions, Leo Lions, and New Lions. We will have past District Governor Niels Schnecker from Romania, joined with Division Manager John Montgomery. Then we will have International Director Jeff Leader, the Chairperson of the Leadership Development Committee, joined with past International Director Ton Soeters, who formerly served as GMT International Coordinator. And then we will have a panel of experienced but very young Lions and leaders, past Council Chair Alberto Sochi, Lion Antti Forsell, Maddalena Blass from Romania, who currently serves as Leo at the Leo Advisory Panel, and Kamisi Grace, Department Manager from Lions Clubs International. To set our scene, we have past International Director Nesim Levi. To say a few words about past International Director Nesim Levi is not easy. It requires a lot of things to be said, but Nesim Levi was a mentor and was a trainer for many of the European Lions, for many of the European leaders. He has served at the DG seminar for a number of years. He was my group leader back in 2012, and he was also my co-facilitator at one of the institutes. He has a lot of things to share, and what he's going to speak to us today is actually one of his own children. So, past International Director Nesim Levi, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I will share my screen. Okay. I'm going to talk about the Platinum Rule. And the platinum rule will take us to the future. Thank you, Andrea, for this nice introduction in which you underline that the future is, okay, there we go. The future is in the hands, in a way, of the Leos, young lions or Leo lions. And I totally agree. And this is why I will dwell a little on some personal thoughts based on some observations and also some kind of research, if I may say so. In this happy family, the young teenager asks one day her grandfather, "Grandfather, could you please tell me what means making a sacrifice? Give me some examples of your sacrifices." The grandfather says, "Look, I was born during the war, and just after the war, there was really nothing. We have nothing left. And when I grew up, I had to work for the family. I didn't have many clothes. I wore the same suit for weeks. There were nights where I went to bed hungry. This is sacrifice," he said. Then the young one turned to his mother. "And Mom, what about you?" The mother, which is a young baby boomer, which had to work a lot. Baby boomers, as you know, are the ones who invented the word workaholic after the war. She said, "You know, I had to go to work in the morning. I came back in the evening, work at home, prepare dinner, fed you all. The next morning, I had to go to work again, come back home, work, go back to work and work. This was sacrifice." Now, this little girl, this teenager, did not live through these matters. So for her, sacrifice is something else. If you ask her, what is sacrifice? Most probably her answer will be to wait more than 30 seconds for a web page to download. So in other words, when generations are changing, the values are not changing, only the way they are displayed change, as in sacrifice now, as you can see. And this matter is not new. It's very, very, very old, like 2,500 old, 500 years old. Aristotle talks about the same things, the same concepts. So when we looked into our membership in my multiple district, we found out that, as in many other multiple districts, the new members are between the ages in the early 30s and mid 40s. And if you look into it, they are kind of millennials, Gen Xers. They are relatively young. And also after 30, you know, the Leos, we hope they will become lions. We analyzed further our drops, and we discovered that, and then the membership division also confirmed that half of the drops are from members which are in their first 4 years of lionism. So they are, in our case, in the bracket of 30 to 45, the young lions. So we said, we need to do something for them. And we started to look, what are we missing? What can we do for them? We analyzed their leadership journey. After their induction, they were going through the new member orientation. And then they had a formal training when they become a club officer, a secretary, a treasurer, or other. They got then the club president training. If they became a cabinet member, they got the district cabinet member training, vice district governor and district governor, and so on. But between their induction and the time they become a club officer, the only way they had to develop was by participating into the club activities. That's all. So we said, and this could be very easily 3 to 4 years. And there we are losing lions after 3 to 4 years. So we put 2 and 2 together and we developed a program just for those new lions that we called YLLS in English, which means Young Lions Leadership Seminars or trainings. What is it? It addresses the lions which are lions for 1 to 4 years, not during the first year, just after it, and up to 4 years, and have never been, not been a club president. So we looked in the expectations of these people. They want a meaningful life. They want to add meaning to their life. That's very normal. It's not only in lions, it's all over the world, that age bracket. They are relatively new in their career, and some of them have just started a family. They are keen on work-life balance, so they want to have a private life as well. They want to learn and develop new skills for their future. And they are very dynamic and very inquisitive. So we said, let's go and develop something for them. And we developed a program which contained 5 courses, and each course contains a number of lessons. I will give you the names. The first course, we call it the blue course, is the Lions Basic. It does not overlap their orientation. No, it's more philosophical, sentimental, maybe a little logical. We talk about voluntarism, NGOs, why people volunteer, so on and so forth, for them to understand the value and the philosophy in Lionism, because they really want to add meaning to their life. We developed these 5-day programs in a way that it will run 1 Saturday per month for 5 months. We didn't want to take them away from their work or their family for days. Just 1 Saturday per month, because they are new in their career and in their family. They want a work-life balance. We answer to that too. There is no overnighting. They don't have to travel. They travel very short distances, a couple of kilometers, maybe 20 or 30 at the utmost. But the trainers do. The trainers can stay overnight, but they will not. So if there is a group of new lions somewhere in the multiple district or the district, it's the trainers who go there. And they want to learn the new skills? Yes, here they are. They have communication, management skills, project management and setting goals, leadership, and change management. These are skills that they need in their career, in their work, also in lives as well. So this program covered all their expectations in our understanding. And on top, they expect fun and dynamism. And these photos that you see are live photos from our trainings. We give them that too. So to summarize, the key points of this YLLS is they have to be between 1 and 4 years. 12 months must elapse. They should not have been serving as a president. It's one Saturday per month. It's a fixed calendar once a year. We can have parallel courses in different locations, but it's the same date. No overnighting. It's mostly self-funding. We offer a golden certificate to those who attend for 5 sessions. And if they miss one, they get a silver certificate. They can make it up next year or go to another district if missed one, and the district agrees because they have a room. And it's highly interactive. Well, this is the frame. The results are still very promising. Those who drop from within those who graduated from the YLLS are half of those who drop that joined in the same period but did not attend these trainings. So it is very promising. The challenge is to convince the new lions to join these trainings. That's a challenge. And also another challenge, they can be overcome certainly, is that we need to keep track at the district level and maybe the multiple district level of the new lions. So let's go back to our family. They love each other. They live together, but they cannot live together forever. Each one has their own way because of their age differences, because of their generation differences. Interestingly enough, looking at the stages of life, the first stage is the infanthood, babyhood. Then it's childhood. Then comes the teenage, young adult, adults, and seniors, or some call them, they look great for their age. That's that period. And the final stage. With the exception of the very first one and very last one, at each stage, we tend to try to convince our younger ones to be like us. Whatever stage, even that small child will tell her brother or sister, you know, when I was a baby, I didn't have what you had, and so on and so forth. So we need a paradigm shift to build a strong base for our future. And the strong base for our future are the young lions, the Leos, and the Leo lions. What could that paradigm shift be? One of the things which comes to my mind and which I believe is the easiest one to do is for clubs to organize branch clubs only with young people, not inviting them to join their club, but organizing a branch for them and leaving them, letting them alone. They will eventually grow and become a full club. Because the paradigm shift, which is an important one, not very easy for some, is not to use the golden rule anymore. As you know, the golden rule says, treat others like you would like to be treated. But I am now proposing to use the platinum rule, which says, treat people the way they want to be treated. Or even in the case of young lions, Leos, and Leo lions, I would tweak it a little and I would say, treat young people the way they want to be treated. So I've talked a little about the why. I talked a little about the what, but now I think we need to talk also about the how. Thank you.
Thank you, Nesim, for the wonderful presentation. And I think that there are plenty of people inspired by what you told us just now. There is one question that I would like you to answer, and it just came in from one of our attendees. It says, is tradition something we should be willing to sacrifice in order to change for the future?
That depends very much of what we are talking of tradition. If tradition means to wear a bow tie throughout the year, I would say yes. If tradition means to remain within the frame of the code of ethics, I would say no.
Okay, I think that this was just the right and very diplomatic answer of an experienced facilitator. Thank you, Nesim. I did not see any other question coming in, so I assume that there will. Oops. Okay, so there is another question. Why the senior lions find it difficult to allow younger lions to take up responsibilities? So well, it's from Ajay Sunday.
Okay, thank you, Ajay. It is very difficult because they have to let go. In other words, the senior lions, in one way or the other, have developed their own memories. In our time, we did it that way. This is how it can be done. So they do not allow the young lions to develop their own memories. This is why, instead of bringing them into the club, I am proposing to organize a branch club, which eventually will grow to a full club, just to avoid this friction.
Well, Nesim, thank you for bringing again the branch club, because I just received another question on the branch club, and it says, what happens if our branch club outgrows our club and we die and they prosper?
So do you want lions to die with you or not?
That's a very good answer. Thank you, Nesim. You have been as inspiring as always. There is one extra question, but I think that this one will be just perfect for well, actually, we do have some time, so why not go for another question? How can we get
how can we get more training deck or packs for easy training within the Lions? I guess this is concerning the YLLS materials.
I couldn't understand the beginning of the question, please. Once more.
It says, I guess that this is concerning the YLLS materials. How can we get more training deck or packs for easy training within the Lions?
Well, the YLLS is in Turkish. We can, for those who want, they can contact us and we can give them a framework in English, just the outline. The nice thing about it is that every single day of the 5 days can be, the content can be adapted to the local needs. Our local needs were what we developed. Some others could put in some other things, but the frame is the first one must be on Lions, on voluntarism, and on serving others. And the other 4 can be whatever needs to be presented to these young Lions.
Well, I think that we have just exhausted our timing. Nesim, thank you for the inspiring presentation and for bringing us up to speed with the golden and the platinum rule. We will continue on with our symposium. Now we are going into the learning session when we are going to meet with 2 very much experienced trainers, one a Lion trainer and one professional and also a Lion trainer. PDG Niels Schnecke is also one of our mentors of most of the European Lions leaders. I have been privileged to be part of his class at the what was formerly known as Senior Lions Leadership Institute, but I have also been part of his class at the FDI, Faculty Development Institute. Recently, we even served together at as co-facilitators at one of the institutes. After past district governor Niels, who comes from Romania and is currently serving as GAT area leader, we will have Division Manager John Montgomery from Lions Clubs International, who will shed some light on the learning opportunities that Lions Clubs International is providing for our members. So, PDG Niels, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I don't know if I have turned on my video. Yes, I have. Okay. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, Lions and Leo friends, wherever you may be. I became a Lion when I was 40 years old in a district, Romania, as Andrea was mentioning, where the average age of the members was in the high 40s. This reality is one which is the same in a lot of the Central and Eastern European countries. However, after my first contact with Leos, I realized that they are more active, more organized, and more involved in many ways than us Lions. But nonetheless, they did not have the development opportunities that we Lions have. So today, slide please, Daniel. Thank you very much. Daniel is the one that is helping us today with the slides, and I'm thanking him for that. Today, I would like to talk to you about the Leo's access to and participation in the LCI organized institutes and the advantages to our association of such a policy and paradigm change, as well as about the inclusion of Leos and Leo Lions in the district and multiple districts training, both as participants and as facilitators. Then I would like to show you an alternative way of the use of the Young Lions Leadership Seminar that you just heard about from PID Nesim Levi. As a recruitment tool, I'd like to look at it. And finally, I would like to address the idea of partnerships with different EU university student programs. Slide, please. I want to start with a case study made in my own district, 124 Romania. In 2006, Romania had 5 Leo clubs. I decided at the time to lobby Lions Clubs International and the leadership committee of the board to allow 2 of our Leos to participate in a faculty development institute. I was successful, and they graduated FTI, and upon their return, they ran train the trainer seminars in the Leo district, as well as a number of leadership and officer skills courses also in their district. After 2 years, it became tradition to have a minimum of 3 Leo seminars and or courses ran in District 124. As of 2009, the Leo district president is part of the Lions district cabinet, which is actually not just in our district, you'll find it in many districts as well, happily. The result is that to date, we have almost 1,000 Leos and 3 Leo Lions clubs in the district, a district with a total of almost 1,800 Lions. So it's not a huge district. In other words, if Leos would be counted as members, what Andrea was saying in the opening, we would have a multiple district. Slide, please. If we take the lessons from the case study, I would suggest that by using LCI Institute's graduates in the Leo district cabinet and charging them with the leadership training of the Leos and the Leo Lions, it could be the perfect membership vehicle, both in recruitment as well as in retention. By attaching to the district GLT coordinator a Leo vice coordinator, the district could develop leadership strategies for Leo members, including their transitioning to Leo Lions and or Lions. The resources available today are better and more varied than ever before. We have at this moment the best Lions Learning Center ever developed available online. You will hear from the division manager, John Montgomery, right after this about this center. These courses should also be used in building a Leo to Lions career path of the young members and should be followed up with skills training, leadership seminars, and institutes. A special regard should be given to certifying Leos also as guiding Lions, which would serve both to guide Leo clubs as well as Lions clubs, Leo Lions clubs. This certification will assist the Leos in building healthy clubs, but also in maintaining the vision of their career as volunteers. Slide, please. Leos and Leo Lions should be invited to participate in the Lions zone, region, district, and multiple district trainings, but should be encouraged to develop and run their own zone, region, and district events as well. As for all Lions, but even more so for Leo and Leo Lions, team building outings by zone, as well as Lens seminars. You can see on the slide what Lens means at the bottom. By zone and district will prove of great impact in membership management and multi-year strategic continuity, as well as succession planning. The participation of Leo and Leo Lions members in the district cabinet and multiple district council can ensure the better understanding over the generation gap and can give more confidence to the plans of the younger generation, as well as empower them into remaining committed to our association and seeing themselves grow, like we saw with past council chair Alberto Sochi from MD 108 Italy, from whom you will hear later in this symposium. Slide, please. As PID Nesim Levi explained in his scene setting, the Young Lions Leadership Seminar was developed by him as a retention tool for the new Lions, regardless of age. The experience of MD 118 Turkey is extremely important and has moved me to try and convert the program into a recruitment instrument. What we are proposing is that we target the young urban professionals 25 to 35 at the beginning of their career who would need to improve their knowledge base and their CVs with MBA level courses, and that in practice would have to either pay for these courses, and they're never cheap, or they would have to have an employer who is sending them on such courses, but these usually ask for contracted commitment from their employees, stifling by that the job flexibility of the young person, quite important if you think about it at the beginning of their career. Lions Clubs International would be offering instead the 5 MBA level modules you just saw, containing 21 courses, free, against the commitment of Lions or Leo Lions membership for a minimum of 2 years. If we use the District 118U experience in about 3 years ago, that only 19% of the YLLS trained Lions have been dropped within the first 3 years, we can consider this a remarkably effective recruitment program. With the help of PID Nesim, the father of YLLS, and the approval of GAT International Chairperson, past International President Kashid Habanananda, we will run a trial case study in District 124, Romania, over the next fiscal year in order to validate these findings, after which we will propose to the board and the leadership division the inclusion of Young Lions Leadership Seminar as a permanent program of our association. Slide, please. Sorry, one more slide, please. That's it. Here you can see the 5 modules and the included courses already presented in detail by PID Nesim Levi earlier, which, as I mentioned, are at MBA level and are applicable not only for the leadership of Lions Clubs, but for any professional organization, whether it be not-for-profit or an economically profitable company, wherever in the free world. That will make it attractive to the young urban professionals. Slide, please. The last point I would like to make is specific for the European Union. The EU has part of its student and youth mobility and education policy that it is running 2 programs. The first one, Erasmus, is allowing students of higher education to sample other universities' way of life and teaching, as well as ensuring the cross-border young people fellowship and exchange. The second one is giving the young Europeans the possibility to get involved in different voluntary programs run by the European Union to improve the life of different communities in and outside the EU. This program is similar in a way to the US Peace Corps, offering the participants the possibility to work abroad as volunteers in projects close to their hearts. Slide, please. Together with some Lions and non-Lions colleagues and friends, I have started discussions with some of the administrators of the Erasmus program regarding including into the students' obligations the requirement of participating in service activities and logging a certain number of volunteer hours. Unfortunately, the discussions have been halted due to the coronavirus pandemic. However, the interest exists, and as soon as this crisis will have passed, we could continue the discussions, including raising the level of participants in the discussions to LCI executives or board members, and on the EU side, to the level of directors of the Commission or European members of Parliament. If successful, this could create the premise, on one hand, of chartering campus clubs and Leo clubs in and around the Western European universities. You have to understand that the student traffic is generally from east to west in Europe or within Western Europe. And upon return home, the students could continue their activities either in existing clubs or creating new clubs or branches, as Nesim was mentioning, and attracting other of their local friends and school colleagues. If concurrent to these activities, we also deploy the YLLS at the level of terminal year students, we could change a lot of our attractiveness towards the young generation. In terms of the European Voluntary Service, EVS, I would suggest negotiating partnerships with the EU on projects relating with our global causes and the inclusion of local lions or Leo clubs in the development and implementation of the different projects, offering the EVS not only the extra hands and clubs infrastructures, but also the training resources necessary for the planning and implementation of these projects. Slide, please. In conclusion, I think that the Global Action Team system connecting our service to the number and quality of our membership and supported and grown by our leadership development continues to be the key to our success. Moreover, the leadership development and training offered by our great association are going even further when it comes to recruiting and retaining our Leo lions and young lions. Competition is good and provides growth, as well as choice for the consumer, in our case, for the beneficiary of services. But often partnering with other organizations that promote and support similar values to ours can only increase the value and effectiveness of the service to the community and can strengthen our association. One of the past district governors of my district, who unfortunately has left us to continue his service in heaven, Gigi Shepetan, used to say that nobody obliges you to become a lion, but being a lion obliges you. To paraphrase him, I would say that to become a lion, nobody has to teach you, but being an effective lion has to be taught and trained. Those of us that have made a commitment to training and leadership development are offering this as a service to our members and to our association. Slide. We serve and we grow can only be a motto of a learning organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Niels. I think that we are now ready to take on John Montgomery in his presentation, and then we will come back to both with questions from our attendees. John, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Past District Governor Andrea, and also Neil Schnecker. I appreciate your sharing. I was very inspired, and I've already learned a lot. So I do hope to add to that learning with a discussion about online learning and leadership development resources, which may be of interest to you. Slide. My name, as I was introduced, is John Montgomery, Division Manager of Leadership Development with Lions Clubs International. And I want to share with you about the Learn app. The beginning of 2019-2020 in the Lions year saw the launch of the Learn application, which is just one of the products available within the LCI digital ecosystem. Slide. To access Learn, you will need to go to the Lions Clubs International website and log into your Lion account. As you may know, your Lion account unlocks many useful tools and resources. If you don't have an Lion account yet, I encourage you to register for one right away. The image on the bottom of this slide is what you currently see when you have successfully logged in to the LCI digital ecosystem. In the case of today, I'm emphasizing the application on the right, Learn. And to launch the Learn application, you would select the Learn. If you go to the next slide, you'll see the bottom image has changed. This is a little bit of a sneak peek, somewhere between tomorrow and 2 weeks to 3 weeks or so. We don't exactly know the exact date yet. They're still confirming this. The way it would look when you log in to the Lion account would change. So this is a little sneak peek for those of you on the call today. But you'll see that the applications are still there, but in this case, they're at the top where the arrow is pointing. And today, since I'm emphasizing Learn, you would still select the Learn application to get to the Learn resources. If you go to the next slide, the Learn app provides 3 main features. If you could see them identified in beneath the title, Learn, Grow, Lead, you'd see here that they each have a yellow button next to them. And I'll briefly explain that this provides a link to LCI hosted institutes. This also provides information on local training reported by your Global Action Team, but it also provides at the top there access to the Lions Learning Center. We are continuing to bolster this Learn feature. So Right now, for example, the Institute's link would take you to the Institute pages on the website, but in future, we hope to have the ability for individuals to apply and perhaps even register for their institutes using this portal. So the features will continue to evolve. But today I want to emphasize the Lions Learning Center because it's a resource that you've heard other speakers talk about today. It's one that is available to you now, and especially in the situation of COVID-19, it becomes increasingly important for us to look at our digital resources, which is why I wanted to focus on the Lions Learning Center today. So you would click the Go button near the word, beneath the words Lions Learning Center, and it would take you to the Lions Learning Center, which is the next slide. The Lions Learning Center, if you've not been there, is host to a wide array of e-learning courses, primarily focused at this time on leadership development skills. For those of you who've been to past versions of the Lions Learning Center, I encourage you to go back because there are renewed and revised versions of vintage courses. But also importantly, there are new courses to meet the evolving needs of the association. If you go to the next slide, you'll see a screenshot of what happens when you successfully log in to the Lions Learning Center. This is what we would call a personal homepage or a dashboard. You're seeing some green arrows identifying some key aspects. Of course, there's the important navigation and course library features where you can find your resources. You can see that also there's some assigned courses that may be assigned to you based upon your role in the association. There's also places where you sign out or check your user profile. If you go to the next slide, you can see that importantly, if you have completed courses in this new Lions Learning Center, you can see that those past completions are available for you at your fingertips as well. The next slide shows a very important feature we're using to improve our courses, where in the new Lions Learning Center, you can rate them. You can provide instant feedback, which I assure you we look at and also share updates to the committee in terms of if there's any courses that would need revising in the future. The next slide gives you an idea of some of the courses, and for the purpose of today, we're breaking them into 4 main categories for easy explanation. Those would be ones for club and district officers, courses that feature LCI programs and resources, individual skills, and finally, interpersonal and team skills. And let's look at each category a little more closely. On this slide, you're going to see some examples of courses aimed at incoming club or district officers. If you already hold the title, or if you're taking this next year and you log in next year, the titles of club president, club secretary, club treasurer, second vice district governor, or first vice district governor, your courses are already grouped into what we would call a learning path, and therefore they automatically appear on your dashboard when you log in. But don't worry, if you are still interested in other courses, you can use the course library navigation features and find any course there and take the course. In general, these courses here featured in the officer section would provide an orientation to your roles and responsibilities. They also identify some of the key tasks you do and perspective on how your role relates to other roles in the district. We would say that this should complement whatever strong training you have locally as well. If we go to the next slide, understanding Lions clubs and more about programs and resources, that's obvious to you, those who are attending here. You're already very engaged members, you're wanting to learn more, and you know better than even us that there's so much to learn once you start looking into Lions clubs and all that is available. So therefore, these courses really would share more in helping you become more effective in your service. This grouping of courses, I would say, is constantly evolving based on the needs expressed by members. Right now, we have a few courses that feature on the kinds of questions you might get, so it draws you to taking courses on Constitution and bylaws and board policy. But I want to let you know that very soon there will be new courses on the new club development. Those are already in the works and going through review stages. We're also in the design stages of a course on the service journey, and we're working with our global action team colleagues to revise a course that would provide some explanation of the global action team. If you go to the next slide, you can also see that self-improvement is a big part of being a Lion. I think when I was listening to the previous two speakers. They were really emphasizing something that is also true of Lions, is that it seems to attract members and reward members who engage in the lifelong learning of aspect of being a Lion. And I would say being a leader also involves lifelong learning. Therefore, courses that build on your existing skills, perhaps deepens them or strengthen them, you could find here on the Lions Learning Center, as well as ones where maybe the new role is challenging you to develop new skills, and you can find courses there. Just an example of some of the courses featured here are public speaking, servant leadership, time management, and goal setting. Courses that are valuable to as a Lion, but if you look at some of these courses, they could be valuable to you even outside Lionism. The last set of courses I'm going to feature today are very important in any organization, but also true of Lions, is how to lead or be a productive member of a team. So there are some courses that really focus on the interpersonal nature of being on a team, things that help with conflict resolution, things that might help with engagement, such as team motivation, effective teams, and let's be honest, meetings could always be better even if you have good meetings. So there's a course on meeting management to hopefully provide you some additional tips. I hope that this brief presentation is one that has enticed you to explore the Learn application and specifically the Lions Learning Center's online courses. Learning is so instrumental to deepening one's experience as a Lion, and online learning is just one way to experience learning and leadership development. From those speakers who preceded me to speakers who will follow me, you'll hear about additional learning and leadership development opportunities. One of the next speakers coming up is our chairperson of Leadership Development Committee, International Director Jeff Leader. And so you'll be hearing even more. So I want to thank you for your attention. I want to thank you, my fellow presenters, and a final thank you to the organizers for all you're doing behind the scenes.
Thank you to both PDG Niels and John. Thank you for the very informative presentations that you gave that raised quite a number of questions. So I'll start to read them in order. So first, how do we partner with businesses? Niels, I think this one is for you, and or organizations to convince them that Lions can offer the type of training that makes for better employees and leaders with their industries. And then again, how do we match the training level to what they have already received through corporate training? Niels, you're muted.
Here we go. First of all, I would suggest that the companies you're looking for to partner with would be those that do not have their own training centers or their own training departments. And the way you would convince them is by showing them that the quality of our courses are, as I was mentioning, MBA level courses, modules basically. So they could, from those modules, benefit as an employer. But I think that more than, rather than approaching the companies, I would be approaching the individual, because at the end of the day, it is a commitment you're looking for from the young individual who is looking to improve his career by showing him that he can basically kill two birds with one stone. He can improve his professional career through the courses that we would be offering on one hand, but on the other hand, he would also be able to satisfy his need to be a volunteer, his need to share with others his good fortunes with those that are not as fortunate as he is. So I would rather approach the individual than the companies.
Okay, there is one more question for you, Niels, and this one comes from District Governor Marcel Daniels from Belgium. Is anyone taking the lead in working with the European Commission to get a closer link to the Alliance Erasmus or Erasmus Plus program?
Hi, Marcel. Great to see you here on LBS. Yes, I have been working with a number, as I said, of Lions and non-Lions members at the level of the Commission to already discuss these things. I know that your contacts are very good, so I am glad to share with you the information that we already have and the point we're at. So if you can be helpful and add to the negotiation with a commission, the more the merrier.
Thank you, Niels. John, these are the questions that came in for you, and they come in from Paula Magnanti, Mario Lopez, and Hilary Kamnik, and are regarding the Lions Learning Center or the new Learn app. So first, will these be available to all club members, provided that they register and create an account, or just the officer level? And does the new LLC keep details of previous trainings done through MyLion before the change?
Good questions. The good news is that as of January this year, the Lions Learning Center was made available to all Lions and Leos. So the Lion account that the questioner mentioned is a key step. So I'm hoping that anyone on this call who's not been there will go there now. So I definitely think that's important. I would want to emphasize that, sometimes the Lion account is a very easy step, but if anybody has any challenges with that, there is an email address, MyLion Support, that they could email mylionsupport@lionsclubs.org to help them if they're having any challenges with the Lion account. Could you repeat the second question again?
Does the new MyLion Learn app actually keeps details of previous trainings done through the Lions Learning Center?
Okay, this will be an involved answer, but the short answer is no. But what we're able to do, if there's any particular individual who knew they took a lot of courses, they could always email us at elearning@lionsclubs.org, and we would try to give them a record of their history. But the longer answer involves a multi-step project of how learning as a membership value, which is a part of the LCI Forward planning. So it's like leadership development's contribution to that overall effort. We're looking at how, a better learning record could be available to the member. So minding all the, of course, important privacy issues and things like that, we work with IT on this project. We're working with a number of other teams. The ultimate goal would be that the member would be able to find a complete learning record on themselves that would compile not only past e-learning courses, but the new e-learning courses, past or future institutes, right, that they would take. So, or perhaps even training provided by their multiple district and districts. So the ultimate goal is to have a better record of the learning, which is important for themselves. It's important if they're wanting to pursue other things in the future. We're also hoping that as part of that, for the part of Lionism that is the train the trainer pathway, that there would also be better tracking of the resume and experience of trainers. So that vision is in place, but the work takes time. So the better answer is probably the longer answer, but I wanted to give the short answer so that they could have it right away. So thank you for the time for both.
Okay, then here goes. Mario Lopez says, I was in a virtual meeting in my district and they said that there were more than 200 courses, but my dashboard only shows about 10 to 15. So how do I find the additional ones?
Well, one of the things that's very important is that the Lions Learning Center is available in all official languages. So the course count, every course has to be built in the language. So the count is all courses in all languages. So we're constantly working on evolving more courses. So we're not able to give 5 courses next week, but we have courses in development. So I encourage all of you to come back to the Lions Learning Center periodically and check for new courses. The other thing that I'd like to put out, if I could, a quick shout out, as they say, would be that a new opportunity is provided where you can find things like this virtual symposium at lionsclubs.org at the Virtual Events Center. So a collective LCI and LCIF effort is providing more courses, starting first with English, but I think they're beginning to dabble in some other languages. So I encourage Lions, if they're eager for more courses, and let's say that Lion has taken all the courses on the Lions Learning Center, there is upcoming courses and recordings of past courses on that part of the website. So I really encourage you to go there.
Okay, and
And let me just say there, I've got a little note. There's 20 to 22 courses available in each language. We have the good fortune that Elian is also our LMS administrator, and she's on this virtual symposium. So I have a little birdie also giving me some additional information here. So want to pass that along. So if he only found 15, there might be a few more if he looks a little harder. Thank you.
Okay,
and thank you to
I
Jocelyn
guess,
Floho for that little bit of information.
I guess that you've already responded to this, but just for the sake of listening again with the name, Hillary Kumnick asked that whether the DGs that completed their courses on their learning path as first vice district governors automatically carry them over on their personal record for the future.
Yeah, the answer is yes. We're using the Lions Learning Center here to, if he's talking about those who are using the new Lions Learning Center this year, and we want to thank our district governor-elects, first vice district governors. They were part of the first groups to use their new resource. The whole idea is that the data would be following them throughout their Lions, their time in Lionism. So we will need to be continuing to work on what we would call the master learning record. But for now, that individual could go back right in now, that first vice district governor who's going to take office soon. They could go to their achievements and they could see their past courses. Come July 1, they could go back and see their past courses.
Okay,
so thank you,
for that.
Group Leader Hillary. It's good to also see him on the call today.
Thank you, John. And
can I just add something to this last answer that John just gave?
Okay, yes.
I would just want to suggest to all the district governors and the GLT district coordinators to copy, in a way, the master learning file of each line in their district and make sure that they also are maintaining such a file of each of their lines within the district in order to use the leadership trained lions in their development. In other words, to not just have them go to courses and not do anything with them, but to also push them into activities that would match the courses that they have. We started that about 2 years ago in Romania, and it's working very well.
Okay, and I want to thank Niels for that, because I think it's that kind of initiative. And also, past District Governor Niels, you shared about your experience with the Train the Trainer and how it really evolved your district. And we're wanting to learn from the Lions these best practices and bring them into LCI. And I think in future, there could be the ability that the future Mastering Learning Record could be an available leadership pipeline resource to really match people's interests to the leadership opportunities you're looking for. Somebody's taking the future membership pathway, they've not been a membership chair, maybe you can do a match. So we hope that it will be continually good for the association, but also for the member.
Niels, as you are already taking the floor, there is one question that brings us back to the YLLS, the Young Lions Leadership Seminar. Are the materials available anyhow, and in which languages?
At this point, the material, as PID Nesim mentioned in his scene setting, the material is in Turkish. We are working, or will be working this summer, in translating them into Romanian. We will certainly make sure that there is also an English version that will eventually, once the program will be approved by the board, will be available to LCI. From that moment on, obviously, the language department of LCI will multiply that into the LCI languages. But right now, it is in Turkish. We're working on a one-on-one basis with MD118, particularly with PID Nesim, to get it into Romanian. And then towards the end of next year, as soon as the case study will have finished in Romania, we will then look at converting it into English.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
But one more thing. A lot of the modules that you saw, there are 5 modules with 21 courses altogether. A lot of those courses are elements of different institutes or different online courses already existing in the LCI library. So we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just basically pulling and matching them, so it won't be a very difficult exercise to have the complete YLLS in any of the Lions languages.
Okay, thank you, Niels, for that. I think that we have just one more question for John. By the way, Niels, our attendee, thanks you for the answer to the question. Whether the club level officers will be able to see the district level training. I guess this is for the eager beavers.
Yes, I think one of the things that's kind of exciting about some of the courses that's being offered for the future district governors are very good advanced leadership development skills. And so Lion may not have that right front and center in their pathway, but the course library is available to them. So that's another important thing for the tracking feature of a learning management system. That's more the general term for what the Lions Learning Center has as its engine, is a learning management system. It allows for that tracking so that if somebody is taking the course and it has not changed, it will identify they've already completed it. Lion's time is precious, and it's important that the system honors that. So not only could the person take it, if the course is not changed, let's say 6 months from now, and they need to take it again, it'd already be there and show that they have completed the record. Thanks to our LMS administrator, I can also confirm that servant leadership was offered in all of the official languages this week. So if somebody had gone last week and thought they were done, there's already another course for them to go back and check.
Okay, well, thank you, John. And thank you, Niels, for the amazing presentations. I think that we've boosted the interest, raised the interest level with our attendees so far. And after almost, more than 1 hour, just over an hour of discussion and presentation, I think that we are ready for our first break. So play the music, maestro.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oops. Hello again, welcome back to the Lions Virtual Symposium for Europe. Today we are discussing Leos, Leo Lions, Young Lions, and New Lions. They are our future, and we are looking on how to diversify and rejuvenate our membership. Today we are answering a few of the questions that are really important to our future and to our membership, particularly to these Young Lions. And speaking of Young Lions, I need to thank the Young Lions Task Force of the NAMI, particularly today to Dawn, Winster, and Charlie Schwartz that are with us, and they're training a new team, technical team from Europe to carry on the torch of Lions Virtual Symposium. I will also like to thank the Lions Virtual Symposium technical team from Europe, Stuart, Zeynep, Boyan, and Joanna are the first 4 Lions that have joined the technical team for Lions Virtual Symposium from Europe. And so it means that we are expanding, building capacities, and preparing for the future. We're just about to begin with the second session for the day, and this session is dedicated to empowering the organization. In this session, we will be looking Lions Clubs International and young members, new members, from 2 different aspects: leadership and membership. And when we are speaking of leadership, we will be speaking of leadership opportunities and capacity building opportunities, but we will also be speaking of leadership of the association. So to speak to us today, we have International Director Jeffrey Leader from MD 105. He is the current chairperson of the Leadership Development Committee, who, if I remember well, I met a long time ago and had the most amazing bow tie and matching socks, but was a magnificent trainer who has trained a number of our European leaders on many of the institutes, and is now, as I said, serving on the Leadership Development Committee as chairperson. And we will then have past International Director Ton Soeters from MD 110, Netherlands or Holland. Ton was, PID Ton was GMT International Coordinator and is currently serving as member of the Lions Task Force Europe. Director Leader, the floor is yours.
Can I have this first slide, please? I wish to present a slightly different perspective of leadership based on feedback from a recent survey that suggested that our membership is not aware of our leadership development division, the work they do, and the courses they have developed. Slide. We all recognize our motto, we serve, realizing that service is an integral part of our membership. I joined my Lions Club over 40 years ago, and my introduction to Lions was through a neighbor who asked me if I'd like to participate in a service activity to help raise money for a retirement home run by the local authority. It was a fun event, which ended with a very large bonfire and a brilliant firework display. I couldn't help but not wait for the next invitation to the local Lions Club for the next event. However, soon after joining the club and having a very good mentor who made sure that I was always involved in service activities, I was visiting neighboring clubs and got involved with zone and then district events. So I was really hooked. I soon realized that knowledge about Lions Clubs International and its history was important. So I really needed some kind of orientation process. Sadly, my sponsor had not been very good at this kind of thing. So I decided to find out more about the organization by attending various sessions held by district officers. Remember, over 40 years ago, there was no internet. Within 5 years of my joining, I was invited to be club president. And by that time, I'd picked up a great deal of knowledge. As my years of membership passed, I took on different roles myself. It was clear to me that the areas of service, membership, and leadership work closely together. They all need action, especially at club level. As Lions, we're here to serve. That's what drives us. It's our motivation. In order to serve, we must have membership to sustain our service. But we need to develop leadership in the club to guide the service projects that bring in new members. And for these new members, potential leaders emerge. Thus, it should be realized that leadership development at club and all levels of our international association is the key function now achieving excellence in service and a motivated, strong membership. Next slide. The purpose of Global Action Team is to ensure we achieve action success at all levels in our association, remembering together with staff as well. Slide. It not only takes each branch of Global Action Team working together, but also each member. To help the Global Action Team thrive, it's important for our leaders and Lions alike to take consistent action within their clubs, communities, and districts, and to understand how to utilize the Global Action Team at all multiple levels. To do this, we need to develop good, effective leadership. So how are we doing this? Slide. In many cases, our strong leadership development is the product of the work done by the Leadership Development Division. Slide. The mission statement of leadership development is clear. Achieve excellence in Lions leadership development through quality learning opportunities. I have to remind everybody that I have a quality background, so this is a particular interest to me. Although training resources and trainings are the primary deliverables, the emphasis on learning acknowledges both the ongoing nature of leadership development and the participants' role in their own development. Slide. It can be helpful to know who works in leadership development, working with their teams to provide the leadership development resources. So the managers are, and we've already been introduced to John Montgomery, Divisional Manager of the Leadership Development. Then there's Dawn Mangiarulo, who's the Department Manager for Learning and Development Programs. And then there's Cynthia Bianchi, Department Manager for Instructional Design. Slide. The leadership development staff are dedicated to supporting Lions in leadership development and other learning which is needed to grow a Lion. The Learning and Development Programs Department manages and supports faculty and students at the Lions Clubs International sponsored leadership institutes of the Advanced Lions Leadership Institute, the Faculty Development Institute, the Lions Certified Instructional Program, and support GAT, the Global Action Team, GLT, through funding programs and local institutes, and also work in enhancing our research and assessment, needs assessment. The Instructional Design Department develops and revises curriculum such as e-learning, webinars, the Regional Lions Leadership Institute, and institutes, and the first Vice District Governor-elect curriculum. Slide. Another way to look at this is how leadership development relates to the member through a process by which Lions learn, lead, and grow. Slide. The Lions Clubs International views leadership development as a membership value. Varied learning options for Lions and Leos are available, such as LCI developed courses in institutes. There's locally developed specialized courses for districts and multiple districts. It depends on the multiple district, but certainly my own multiple district has an eye screening for local school children, a program yet to be rolled out. There's classroom training. There's online modules, as you've heard from John Montgomery, in the new Lions Learning Center. There are specialized webinars, which can be found in the Lions Virtual Events Center, a new area on the website. And there's a new presentation there on club activity reporting. There's also workshops and seminars at forums and also at conventions. So you're bound to find something at a forum or convention about LCIF, our foundation, and quite often the Club Quality Initiative. Slide. This slide depicts Marshall Goldsmith, a well-known leadership author. He puts the value of leadership development in practical terms. He describes in his book, which is entitled, "What You Got Here Won't Get You There." He highlights in his book that sometimes there's something in our makeup that is holding us back. It could be a mindset, such as undervaluing our ability, or we have some bad traits, like passing judgment on other people without knowing facts about them, or failure to give proper recognition to persons who truly deserve praise, or continually telling others how good we are. Slide. Personal characteristics such as integrity, compassion, soft skills such as good communications, being open-minded, a problem solver, having a wide knowledge and great experience, being able to share vision, having the ability to build and empower teams. These are just some of the many facets which define the quality of a good leader. And that is why leadership development has been tasked with providing Lions and Leos with various leadership development tools and opportunities, both organized by Lions and by Lions Clubs International. Slide. So let's take a brief look at leadership development opportunities. Slide. So what do the 5 leadership institutes offer that are shown here on this slide? 3 for Leadership Pathway and 2 for Train the Trainer. The Emerging Lions Leadership Institutes prepares Lions and Leos for leadership positions at the club level. And these are for candidates who have not yet served as club president. So we're talking about young Lions. The Regional Lions Leadership Institute prepares Lions for leadership positions at all levels, designed for all Lions who wish to pursue leadership roles in their Lions communities. The Advanced Lions Leadership Institute prepares Lions leaders for leadership roles and responsibilities at zone, region, and district level. Qualified candidates must have completed a successful term as club president, but not yet attained the position of first vice district governor. The Faculty Development Institute is for Lions who wish to develop their facilitation and training skills at club, district, and multiple district level. The FDI is designed to further develop training skills and techniques. Qualified candidates must demonstrate basic instructional skills and have some experience as instructors at local Lions training. And the final course is the Lions Certified Instructor Program. We call it LCIP for short. This is a pathway to instructor certification. Qualified candidates must meet some requirements which are specified on the international website. Effective from July 2020, LCIP certification will be required for facilitators at LCI directive institutes and also as group leaders for the first vice district governor-elect seminar. Next slide. So what are the local leadership development institutes? These are the Emerging Lions Leadership Institute. There should also be there the Regional Lions Leadership Institute, the Advanced Lions Leadership Institute, or the Faculty Development Institute, the FDI. A local leadership development institute is an opportunity for a multiple district single district or undistricted area to self-organize and self-fund a learning opportunity. The Global Action Team, GLT, may pursue this as the need or desire for such a learning is great enough to have support from that area. Next slide, please. The Leadership Development Curriculum has funding support in 3 main areas. There's the Leadership Development Institute Grant Program, which supports the training of future leaders. The choice of curriculum is twofold. It's the Regional Lions Leadership Institute, the RLLI, or the Emerging Lions Leadership Institute, the ELLI. Multiple districts can qualify for a grant of $4,500 US. And as from this year, the grant for single districts has been increased from $1,200 US to $1,800 US. And for undistricted provisional districts, regions and zones has increased from $500 to $750 US. Then there's the Leadership Development Multiple District Grant Program. This in particular is for first and second vice district governor training curriculum, which focuses on key responsibilities, but has some flexibility in it. The flexibility is concerning local requirements, but the trainers are eligible to claim expenses up to an amount not exceeding $100 US per confirmed first vice district governor, and up to $750 US per confirmed second vice district governor as a governor participant. The Leadership Development Grant at district level is specifically for zone chair training. The grant supports training and development of zone chairpersons, and districts are eligible for expenses which can be claimed or reimbursed up to an amount of $500 US. Next slide, please. The first vice district governor-elect training is critical training for the key role of this organization. As you can see, the program is divided into 4 parts. Online homework, where the first vice district governor-elect will be asked to complete coursework in the upgraded Lions Learning Center. As we've heard, there are several online courses, and these are released to them in phases both before and after the seminar in February. The multiple district training, the curriculum is posted in a link sent to the GLT coordinator in August. This curriculum is also augmented by relevant local topics at the discretion of the multiple district leadership. The dates vary according to the multiple district. Then there's the first vice district governor-elect seminar, which is held over 4 days, and it's divided between 2 different times and locations. Days 1 to 3 are held at a special training center at St. Charles, not far from Chicago, and held in February, beginning of February. And day 4 is normally held at the International Convention and provides motivational and information sessions. There's a spouse companion program, and the highlight is normally at the 3rd plenary session, when in fact the district governor is administered his oath, his or her oath. Next slide, please. So leadership development stems from learning of the individual leader. And the learning often involves an awareness of a gap, as we've already mentioned, from where one finds a leader happens to be, but there may be another position where they want to be. So it may start with self-development. The change and growth we seek externally starts internally with our own leadership development. And then our learning benefits and motivates our fellow Lions, encouraging their development through our enhanced capabilities, our actions, and identifying future leaders. And then when we get into the community, we find that we serve our communities, we improve lives, And through a shared vision, strategic plans, and relationship with others, we help in the community, and that develops our leadership capacity. And finally, as our leadership develops, then Lions Clubs International grows through the experience in leadership that we develop. Next slide. So thank you. A brief summary really of the position of leadership development and what our department, our very valuable department, does for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Jeff. And now we pass on to past Director Ton Soeters. Ton, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Andrea. Everybody can hear me, I hope. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Leos and Lions. I am a member of the European Task Force. Oh, I have to start. Sorry, I had to start my video. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Leos and Lions. I am a member of the European Task Force, and since 2008, I am involved in membership situation. Next slide, please. I will give you my personal vision about membership in Europe. Since 2011, every year is a decrease of members in Europe. And when you look at the trend, and also for the future, it will be more than 3,000 a year. So the point is how to stop this loss of members. And do we know the problem? I think yes, we miss young lions. And maybe also what is our program for the future? And are there solutions? Yes, of course. I will tell you later on in this webinar. And is it achievable? And I think so. With the help of Young Lions, Leos, and also with the help of Lions Club International. Next slide, please. In the USA and Canada, they have the same problem, but all, I think, for 40 years, they lost members, and they have now a project, the NAMI project, North America Membership Initiative, and it is focused on new clubs, new members, member satisfaction, and leaders support. And many times I said before, do we have a membership problem or do we have a leadership problem? And I think we have a leadership problem. But Jeff have told us, and also Nesim, and he told us about the many trainings we can get. So that's important. Now we start a pilot project in 9 districts. And I think in Europe, we can do the same. Start a pilot project in 9 districts of Europe, from east to west, from north to south. And I think make a combination with Young Lions Task Force and GET Europe. And I think PID Robert Redby of Switzerland is the coordinator for Europe of GET, and he is doing a tremendous job. Next slide, please. New members. For new clubs and new members, our focus is on young members and baby boomers. And baby boomers at the moment have time, have a network with friends, and had a lot of money. And I hope they will spend also the money for our foundation and campaign 100. But for Young Lions, it is difficult to invite them in an existing Lions Club? And are we focused for young lions and non-young lions? I will have a suggestion. So, and what is the transfer from Leo to Lions? Maybe 10%. So there is 90% are going to junior chamber or to going to other clubs like the round table. And I think it's an opportunity for Leos to go to a Young Lions organization, a Young Lions club, or even what also mentioned, a branch club. Next slide, please. Let's have a look at young lions born between the 80 and 95, and we call them millennial. 11% of the millennials are socializers, family-oriented, like entertainment and freedom. 15% are conservatives. Tradition, structure, and etiquettes are very important for them. 20% are Jeevers, action-oriented, family-oriented, and they like innovation. And then 23% creatives, have open-minded and care about themselves. 32% challengers, take risks, competitive, and adventure. So when we focus on young lions, we have to look at what kind of millennial we see, and is there also a solution for our Lions clubs? Next slide, please. Millennials, Y generation. Important is for them a DG world. And also is important social media, interactive communication, cyber clubs, and speed. When you ask them to do service activity, they do it by internet and very quick. They have the resources in a few days, and that's important. Next slide, please. They believe in targets. They are flexible in working. They don't like regular meetings. And sometimes they go from company to company, not a long life stay in a company, but after a few years, they changed. And also from club to club. And they are not very rich, not like the boomers. So, and they spend their money on holidays, city trips, entertainment, and their children, and sport. Next slide, please. So we have another generation, born 95, 2010, and we call them children of the PC, GSM, internet, and they have the mobile phone the whole day in their hand. And we name them Zoomer. And Zoomer is a little play of boomer. Social media is very important and also give them actuality in the world and see what demonstrations are being at the moment. And they are also very community and collectivity around. So that's more important than individualism. Emotional intelligence are also be interested because they care for people and they care for the planet, how young they are. Next slide, please. So therefore I think we have a membership gap between our young lions, Leos, versus, sometimes we said senior lions, but let we say lions. And there is an expectation of modern society versus traditional. And what is important is what kind of freedom we are, and entertainment and family driven is also important. So what is the situation of a traditional Lions Club? Average age of 50 to 60 in many countries, and with a traditional structure, attendance, meetings, and leadership. So that is the gap. And can we close the gap? Please, next slide. Start what young Lions, Leos, and Lions, non-Lions expect from servers in their community. Focus service clubs and use on that. And then we talk about activities, entertainment again, family clubs, innovation, flexibility, and we have conventions, and I think they like mini festivals. So I think, next slide, please. There is a time. Next slide, please. For solutions. Is it possible that young Lions, Leo, and non-Lions start their own organization, but in cooperation with existing Lions Club and Lions Club International, under the umbrella of Lions Club International? And is there a marketing plan for young Lions? And Lions Club International has a marketing division, and one of our international directors from Europe, from France, Miguel, is sitting in that department, sitting in the committee of marketing, and I think they can help us. But also ask Lions Club to support, ask Young Initiative for Service, Club branch club, already said, start with five young people, and perhaps a specialty millennial club. And of course, we have already cyber clubs, but it can be more. Next slide, please. Conclusion. Support young Lions, Leos, non-Lions in orientation about their future. And Young Lions organization, when it is, I think it's they have their own organization, but it still is a part of Lions Club International. Use existing programs of Leos and Lions Club International. A lot of training are available. We heard it before. But they also can develop their own need for training and coaching, and understand the development of the generation Y, millennials, and Z, and work together, Young Lions Task Force and Lions Task Force Europe, and build on Europe membership initiative. Thank you for listening.
Thank you both, Director Jeff and past Director Ton. Thank you for your interesting presentations and for sharing first the overview of all of leadership opportunities that LCI is offering. To be honest, the comments that we have received and questions speak volumes about Director Jeff's presentation. They say this has never been done in such a concise manner to anybody, and people have been spending years searching on our website for the information. There are two questions that just came in for Director Jeff and are linked to what he has been presenting previously. The first one is from Mihaly Christoforou from MD117.
He's the district GLT coordinator and is asking on the RLLI, well, leadership development MD grant application when it's going to be issued. And the second one comes from Crisanto Avila, who is asking on the LCIP and when is the next scheduled institute.
Okay, the first question, I'm just trying, I've forgotten what it was.
When is the leadership development grant
Oh, right, yes,
going to
okay,
be
yes.
issued?
Yes, no, the leadership development grant should be able to apply for it as from July. You only have to register an interest in getting the leadership grant. The leadership development department will stop taking applications for the grant at the end of August. So there's that window of opportunity just to register your interest in having a grant. That's how it stands at the moment. What happened last year was that grants or the budget allocation that was not taken up was utilized to help other areas. But I'm not in a position to be able to say anything at the moment in terms of whether that will happen again. In terms of LSIP, I don't actually have the, well, I will have the schedule, hold on. I'll have to look this up. You might want to go on to another question whilst I just check on this. The problem is that the schedule, although it's nearing finalization, it hasn't actually been published. But I can actually let GAT actually have the dates. The GAT, I think, have a meeting on Monday, this coming Monday in the evening. And I can let them actually have a copy of the dates. I gave them some provisional figures or provisional dates already at the last meeting. It's mainly the other areas where, in fact, there is uncertainty. I'm just looking now. Oh, hang on.
My background information and the Green Room team has just shared with me that the information on the leadership development application is already available on the website. And as for the schedule for LCIP, it's still not out.
Well, I can give you the date, actually.
Okay.
The LCIP is scheduled for the 8th to the 11th of January in Frankfurt.
Okay, well.
However, that is a provisional date. It's not been confirmed because it's not been published yet.
Okay, thank you. There is one question, but I don't think that I don't think that we have any particular question for with regards to membership. There are some that are. There is one that is concerning cyber clubs, and are there any problems that that we have established with regards to functioning of cyber clubs? But there was one comment previously coming that we should not be afraid of young lions and new people. Just be open-minded and ready to accept them. Of course, that does not exclude the strategy that PID Tom has just explained to us. I think that we are ready to have our next break, but before we do that, I would like to thank you again for your presentations and for inspiring the people. As you can see, the chat is filling in with wonderful comments and thank you notes for both of you for this session. Thank you again for being part of the symposium and for sharing your experience and your knowledge. Maestro. Hello, Lions, and welcome back to the Lions Virtual Symposium for Europe, dedicated to Leos, Leo Lions, Young Lions, and New Lions. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everybody. We are moving towards the liveliest, I guess, of our sessions, as it will involve a number of our young lions from Europe. Former Leos, past Council Chair Alberto Sochi of MD108 Italy and Lion Antti Forsell of MD107 Finland will be here to share their stories of their experience as a young lion, as a former Leo, and as a lion leader in their multiple districts. We will also listen to Maddalena Blass from Romania, District 124, who is currently serving at the Leo Advisory Panel, and with Department Manager of Lions Clubs International, Kamisi Grace. For those of you that have been questioning our strategy of organizing the symposium, well, speaking about young lions with experienced lions leaders, well, here we are again with experienced lions leaders, just with some more darker hair on their heads, if any. Alberto Sochi, Antti Forsell, Kamisi Grace, and Maddalena Blass. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Andrea. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you great.
Thank you. Thank you to you, and thank you to the all members of the Orga team of this great event and great symposium that we are leading. So the task that you have entrusted to me is to talk about my history, about Leo and lions. So it's not easy to talk about the story. First of all, I decided of don't show you the slide, because I think that the most important things when you talk about yourself is to show your face and show your eyes and try to share your feeling with the people behind the monitor. So this is what I would like to do. My history started in 1998 as a Leo, of course. I was very young. I was a shy boy, and so it was a very incredible experience because before to be Leos, I was part of the other association, social association in my country. But what I saw inside of the Leos Club was to serve without to think about what you have around. The only things that you have to do is serve, to change the life of the people, to create a better world. This was an ideological things that I felt inside of the Leo. Was great, was my place. And I started to leave the Leo Association as a simple members of my club. And after a few years, they asked me, Alberto, would you like to be a president of the club? As I told you, I was I was shy, and I was very worried about that, because what I can do, I will be a good president or not, but I did it. Experience, Leo leadership, experience, opportunity, and it was a great experience. Changed many things of myself, and I started to work with the others guys and to share with them my ideas and to work for something of very big to help the people. It was great. And after few years, some Leos in my district asked me, Alberto, would you like to be a district president? Because we would like to work with you and to try to do something of great altogether? And my answer was, of course, yes, I will do it. We will serve, I will serve, and we will serve together. In that years as a district president in my case, and they were my officer. And we did many things. And what I thought in that moment was which kind of great association we have. We are helping the people with the other guys, and we changing their life, and we do it with a smile on the face. It was great. And after the year as a district president, I was vice multiple district president, and after multiple district president, Italian multiple district president. And what I did few years with 20 Leos, we did with 5,000 Leos. And as a multiple district president, all the project that we have in our mind, we did it in that year. We ever love to say, if you can dream it, you can do it, as Walt Disney said. And we did it. We dreamed. We were dreamer, and all we thought, all we dreamed, we did it. One beautiful experience, but was not the last one, because in that moment I started to understand the international Leo's reality, and to share your experience not just with the people of your country, with your tradition, with your culture, but share with many others guys around the world. Was great. I did it the ILO Mediterranean and European ILO chairperson in 2009, and the Europa Forum president in the same years, because it was very great to work with the other Leos around Europe, and not just the Europe, but the Mediterranean area. And in 2009, I closed my Leo's experience. And my thought was, okay, I think that I did a great experience. Now I'm started with my life. I taken my bachelor and my PhD in university. And so I was happy of what I did, but I was not sure of to enter in the Lions clubs, because what I saw in that moment to the Lions Club was that probably that reality was quite different to the Leos. And I wanted to enjoy the Lions, but not in that moment. I probably needed to wait. And what I thought, I think that it's not happening, because after 6 months, I was in the Lions Club. My Lions Club asked to me, Alberto, we would like to have you. And I was not able to say no. Of course, that I will enjoy the Lions, because I love these associations. And but the problem was that my Lions was have many members with a very different age from mine, and it was not easy to try to design a project or something like this as a former Leo, young former Leo, was very difficult, and that 2 years was not very happy for me as a members of Lions, because of course I was sometimes in one corner, and I have difficulties to share my ideas, so it was not easy. But many other Leos decided to create a new Lions clubs. One Lions club where all the members, or not all, many of that members were former Leo, but inside of the club we had many other people that have not our age, and we shared the experience and young power, young way to serve. And this mix, this opportunity of to share service in this different way was great. And that is the moment where all is changed. I enjoyed the Alliance. And we started to serve after a few years, few years after to be president, the first president of the club. I was zone chairman, region chairman, and one evening I received one calling that say, Alberto, would you like to be our governor, or in that case our vice district governor? And I was surprised and worried again, because after 36 years old, and to be vice governor was not easy, but was something that I love it, because I say, maybe we can change something, maybe we can do something more, maybe we can change and open to the young people our association. And I did it, the governor. And after to be governor, it's happened that the council of the governor decided to ask me to be council chair in our multiple district 108 Italy. And that experience was probably one of the most important experience that I did in my life. For 45,000 lions that serve, that change the world, that wait your words to do something. It was great. And I think that to close this my speech is that I don't believe that the young lions have to take some different way to serve in our association. So we have all things to help and to serve with them. The only thing that is, don't put them in the corner. Give them the possibility. Give them the area where they can work. They can share their ideas, and they can explain what they want to do. If you will do it, you will be happy to see what they are ready to do. If you will close with them, probably you will lose them. The only thing is to help them to leave our association and not put them in the corner. And of course, Niels, to train, and the training is one of the most important things that we can do to help the young generation in our association. But together, not Leos and Lions. Leo and Lions together, because they have to share their experience, they have to know each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Alberto. You see me smiling, and I definitely know one additional thing that we would need for the future symposium: a cheerleaders group. A cheerleader group to cheer for our presenters like you, with a great heart and with a magnificent story to share with our attendees. Thank you again for sharing your story and for inspiring a number of our attendings into serving the association. Let's continue further. We have now a presentation and a video from Lion Antti Forsell from Finland, one of our digital ambassadors of Lions Clubs International, and a former Leo himself. So, Daniel, if you can share Antti's presentation and video.
Hello, everyone. I'm Antti Forsell from Finland, and I'm here to talk about the Young Members Engagement Task Force. Unfortunately, I cannot be there with you in this webinar, therefore you get to see this pre-recorded video. Earlier this summer, MD Convention in Finland approved a club motion to focus on young member engagement. feel that this is a crucial topic, that how can we involve, engage, and keep our younger members in our clubs. Task force is there to look at this motion, and we want to involve all our members who are under 40 years of age. Why do we do this? It's because of this graph. This graph tells members who have decided to leave our organization and how many years they have been members at that point. If we look at the red graph on the top, we can see that those are members under 40 years of age, and they are leaving, majority of them, in the first 3 years. 56% of those members who decide to leave are leaving within first 3 years. Compared that to the members who are over 50 years at the same period of time, it's a significant difference. And there's something to be done. Then if we look at the funnel at the graph's lower left right-hand corner, we can see that everything smoothens somewhere between 5 to 7 years. And after that, age doesn't matter on our departure. How can we focus on first 3 years up to 5 years of membership, especially with the younger members? Therefore, we want to look at younger members in 2 different peer groups. Young new members who are from 0 up to 3 years of membership. Give them a partial induction and mentoring, and telling them a little bit more about our organization, what we do, how we organize the service projects, and give them a mentoring if they wish it. We also want to collect their first impressions and experience from the club. How does it look like to be a Lion member? And is reality matching a promised image? Some of them have already executed service projects. They might have some first experiences on club officer roles, but we want to look at that. What is there on early age of being a Lion member? Then we have another peer group looking at the young experienced members who are 4+ years, that they have been already involved in several service projects. Most likely they've had their first Lions club office, using their experiences, turning into ideas of change. And we want to focus on diversity, inclusion, and collaboration in clubs and districts, especially focusing on age levels. So diversity, having under 40 years old, and then over 40 or over 50, over 60, whatever is the age range of each club. Is there a difference? Are they being heard? Are they involved in a decision making? What could improve with the clubs and districts on this regard? Having these young members meeting up a couple times over this next year, we want to also make a group of them, create friendships over the club and district borders, give them an opportunity to interact with their age level, and also bring these events as a family-friendly or family-oriented weekend events, that if you have younger children, family, please bring them along as you wish. So this is the idea and concept of the peer groups, and how do we use them in this frame is here. The very brief project plan divided into 3 parts. From the top down, it's initiate, engage, and action. And action being the most important part of this, that we, after engagement, we actually make an action, recommendations, what we can do, and follow up those that they will happen. But looking at where we start is the online questionnaire with all our younger members, and at the same time completing the detailed planning of the rest of the year. To engage our younger members, we want to have 2 sets of workshops. The first one being especially looking at the topics in the previous slide, giving them a pre-assignment, a little bit inspiration and thoughts, what's there to be a Lion member, and then afterwards make some analysis of the results. And then second set will be combined events with these both peer groups and focusing on creating those resolutions or recommendations, what we can change in our memberships, trainings, communications, possibly even in constitutional bylaws on club, district, or MD levels. And then coming an important point of making action and empowering our district governors and council chairs to make a decision in late November and launching our preparation for the action, and also already launching some of the actions to be executed early on. And the second control point would be the next council meeting at the end of February, when looking at the especially trainings or possible changes in constitution bylaws, having those prepared before we have the MD convention in early summer in June. And in early January and June, we would have a final report on this motion, that what has been done, how did the engagement go, what kind of actions we took, and what is the result of those actions at that point. So this is the project plan for the task force. However, Finland is not the first one to invent this. I know that especially in Europe, the United Kingdom has been done similar workshops with the younger members 2-3 times earlier. Director Jeff Leader can probably elaborate more on this. I know that in North American Membership Initiative and their Young Lions Task Force, they're working on similar topics and engaging younger members. Those would be good contacts. Also in LCI headquarters, we have a department for Young Lions and Leos. Their management and staff and specialists are very helpful and really can support us in these topics. And also all speakers in this webinar are excellent resources for taking this kind of an initiative forward. So please use all these contacts and points if you want to replicate similar topics. For me, I thank you very much for your attention. This was my short presentation, and sadly, I cannot hear what others are saying or take your questions. Thank you very much.
So we are going further, continuing with Leo Maddalena Blass, advisory panelist from District 124, Romania. Maddalena, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Andrea. Hello, dear Leos and Lions, friends of the world. I hope you are safe wherever you are right now. Thank you for having me. I'm here to share my experience as a Leo. And in the following minutes, I will share with you what differences between Leos and Lions I have observed during the last 8 years that I served as an active Leo. A lot of other Leos came to the same conclusions that I came during these years. First one is the age gap. As we all know, there is an age gap between Leos and Lions, but the most important thing is to understand that we can learn from each other and benefit from this gap. For example, Leos might be better at digital communication or using digital tools. At the same time, Lions have access to a wider network of professionals. So what we need to do is to exchange our experiences and get the most of what each side knows. Second of all, the type of activities that we organize. We, as Leos, organize mostly hands-on projects, while Lions prefer to make donations. So we need to know this difference in order to adapt. For example, we as Leos during Leo Europa Forum, which is similar to Lions Europa Forum, have a one-day social activity. We think that that is really important to us, and we are so excited about it every year. For example, during the past years, we renovated schools in Portugal, we played with kids that fled war in Germany, Germany, we cleared forests in Estonia, and we did many more projects. So when we look back, we are always happy to remember those moments. So I think that Lions should try to organize more hands-on projects in order to attract LEOs to join them, because we as LEOs like to get involved in organizing the projects and see the real beneficiaries of the project. Third, we are talking about club fees. LEO club fees tend to be annually around 100 euros, while some Lions clubs can have fees that are around 1,000 euros. That's 10 times more than what LEOs used to pay. So in order to attract more LEOs to transition to Lions, we need to make Lions club fees lower. Even though at international level, there are some discounts for LEO Lions, those are not enough. Because if you look at the fees in general, we see that club fees weight the more. So we need to start maybe organizing some informal meetings as Lions, so we can decrease the club fees and try to attract more young people. So I want you to remember the age gap, the type of activities that Lions and LEOs organize, and the club fees. These are some of the differences that we need to acknowledge and find ways to make the best out of them. So as a conclusion, our differences make us stronger. We are not the same, LEOs and Lions, but together we form a big family that is formed by unique individuals, and this makes us so special. So thank you for your time. Thank you for all the lessons that you shared with us, all the previous speakers and future speakers. And together, let's continue serving the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Maddalena. Interesting points of view which we should definitely have in mind before we continue further, before we even plan for accepting or appreciating more LEOs and younger members into our association. Thank you also for the service that you're doing and for joining our panel today. Let's continue forward and listen to Kamisi Grace, Department Manager from Lions Clubs International.
Greetings, Lions and Leos. Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Kamisi Grace, and I'm the manager of the Young Lions and Leos department at LCI headquarters. So, of course, I'm very excited to have an opportunity to talk about Leos and Young Lions, since that's really what I think about all the time. And what I challenge everybody to think about is often we say that the future is Leo, and that Leos are the future of the organization, and young Lions are the future of the organization. But the future starts now. It's really important that we begin to plan and invest now in the people that we believe will carry this organization forward for the next 100 years. It's going to take all of us, and so we're all in this together. Consider this, that many times when we think of Leos, we think of them as a pipeline feeding into Lions, right? I'd like us to begin to think about it in a different way. And so I've shown a different graphic that's more of a circle. And thinking about all of the ways we engage with young lions and lions in the different programs that we have, but each one feeding into the next one and investing into the next stage. Younger going into older, older going into younger. So although the arrows are going one way, they could easily be reversed and people still be able to learn from each one in that order. So begin to consider that when you're examining how you're engaging with Leos and other members of our organization, because that investment will pay off big in the end. Our Leo Club by the numbers. So I've highlighted some of the numbers that I think are important for people to know. So on the left, we have a higher ratio of Omega Leos than we do Alphas. So for anyone new to the Leo Club program on the line, the Alpha Clubs are for members who are 12 to 18. And Omega Leos are participants who are 18 to 30. So we have a lot more in that older age range than we do in the younger. We have over 7,000 Leo clubs in total, 150,000 members. And I'm really proud that at the end of last year, they'd served over 2 million people through the Leo Club program. But what I also know is that number is likely much, much bigger. Because for many reasons, we don't have all of the information about every Leo participating in our clubs. So I would encourage those of you who do have access to my LCI to input the members, to keep with the officers updated so that we can communicate with them. And more importantly, they can communicate with us and share the information about what their clubs look like and what their service activities are, so we can really understand the full impact of the Leo Club program. Membership at a glance in CA4, I've highlighted just a few of the things that I think are most relevant to this conversation. And when you look at the reported Leos, you see that there are over 8,000 reported Leos, but the number of Leo Lions is only at 123. Small, but I wanted to be honest about the fact that it's small because I don't think that that's horrible, right? We relaunched the Leo Lion program in January. We're doing a lot of promotion, and it's a lot of confusion. And so not everybody who's eligible for the program even realizes that they're eligible and has been entered into the system in the right way. And it's an opportunity for us all to work together to identify student members, campus clubs, specialty clubs, family memberships. All of these things are things that can help attract younger members, but it will take all of us working together to get that word out and to identify what makes sense in our area, in our district, to bring in younger members and to keep them. When you look specifically at Young Lions in Europe, they exist. Sometimes people always ask me, like, do we even have Young Lions? And the answer is, of course, we have Young Lions. But when you look from 18 in the ages 18 to 30 in the last year, got about 645 new members, and between 31 to 40, well over 1,000. But the thing that I would also ask us to look at is the dropped members. How many members are leaving the organization? And that's where the work can also be done. So I don't want the conversations to only ever be, how do we bring them in? But also, how do we keep them? Because that's something that's extremely important and we should also be focused on. So I'd want you to ask yourself, and I'm thinking about your clubs, are you ready for the next generation? And thinking about that as far as Leos, are you ready to start clubs? Are you ready to engage with Leos regularly and offer them the autonomy that they need, particularly in the older age ranges, to run their clubs as they see fit and that makes sense to them as far as their service? But then, do you have the capacity to collaborate with them as partners and as one strong Lions family in your area? When you're thinking about younger Lions, are you flexible in your traditions? Are you willing to offer early leadership opportunities? I say early because for you, perhaps there are leadership opportunities or learning opportunities that have traditionally gone to Lions who have been more established, who've been in the clubs for years. But perhaps that's an opportunity to engage a new Lion or a Leo in learning more about the organization and getting more involved in your area leadership. And so for you, it may seem like an early opportunity, but for some of our younger members, it won't seem early at all because they're managing their own organizations, they're leading teams at work. And so for them, it will feel timely. And so it's a balance in the middle. And then, are you open to new service ideas? It's just something that's very important because younger people may be more passionate about different things. And your club may have established signature service opportunities, but perhaps there's something else that could be done in your area. So would members of your club reach out to Leos for partnership? Do they do that? Have you served as a support for Leo-led or younger-led activities? And have you considered just becoming a multi-generational district? So if the answer to some of these questions for your club is no, we really like our traditions, they're not going to change. We really like the service activities that we do. We don't really want to do others. Maybe the idea for you or the solution is not to change your club by bringing in new members, but to support a new club with younger members or to start a club branch so that younger members who do have service ideas, who do want to start leadership earlier than you might have opportunity to provide in your club, can do so with some autonomy, but with the support of your club. It's really important that we're empowering young people and Leos and Young Lions. And one of the things that I'd like to point out is some of the ways that I've worked with young people, or people in general, in helping them learn new skills and creating opportunity. So the first part is leading. So sometimes if people don't have access to information, they have no idea how to do it. I'm in the front, so you would see that symbolized by the yellow. Sometimes they do know, but it's nice to have support or have a partner to share those responsibilities. And so you're there to balance and to act as security, and you're learning and going through it together. When you move to the third one, the yellow person has moved to the back. So that in this scenario, you would see younger members really up front and leading the way, but knowing that they have you to back them up just in case anything goes wrong. And then moving to the right, just a round of applause. So in this case, assume that they are able to take all the steps on their own, but it's nice to have you there just to witness how great a job they're doing or to provide awards and recognition to honor their service. And I'd ask you to think, could a Leo do this? And you could substitute this with Leo Lion or a younger Lion, a student member. But the answer is probably yes. So thinking of key roles in your events, not just moving the chairs or things like that, but key roles that a younger person could take. Helping them participate in trainings, both just as Leos or Leo Lions in their peer group, but also with you as Lions to learn in your district and to grow together. And then having them be able to lead trainings, not just for Leos or their peer groups, but also for Lions. And I think if you do this, then we will really have an opportunity to encourage more Leos to become Leo Lions. I've listed to the right the benefits of the program. And I think that if you look at this, this is something that is really attractive to Leos and something that they've told us at headquarters we did some focus groups and roundtables that they were interested in. So it's recognition of their service as a Leo. It's the eligibility to serve as a Leo Lion board liaison, the opportunity to help to get some financial support to attend ally trainings if they're admitted, the LinkedIn professional group. So we think this is a really positive experience for Leo Lions, and I'd encourage you to find out more on the website. And the Leo experience is not just for Leos. It's something that should continue because it's attractive for younger members too. Make sure they have opportunities to lead in your organization and in your clubs. Are you creating experiences for them to gain new skills? And are there opportunities for them to contribute to the club in a meaningful way? Not just attending and sitting in the back, but really helping to provide new ideas and give some new direction and be receptive to that. And successes in the center is what I would leave you with. There are lots of resources to help you figure this out along the way. I know it can seem overwhelming, but Leos are there and they can answer your questions. The Leo Lion Board Liaisons, the Leo Club Advisory Panel, which is Leos and Lions from every CA, staff, supportive Lions like yourself, and even Leo grants to support your work, both as service through the foundation. We have a Leo service grant and the Leo leadership grant that we provide that will even support online engagements for the next year. And finally, looking at organizations like the ILO or the Young Lions Task Force, who are volunteers who are ready to step forward and speak to their experience. You'll hear more about the Young Lions Task Force a little bit later, but I thank you so much for your time, and hopefully I've been able to answer some of your questions.
Thank you, Kamisi. This has been a wonderful presentation. Actually, this has been a wonderful session all in all. I would,
Greetings,
I would like to encourage all of our presenters that are online here to turn on their cameras. And there are a number of questions that we have to share. First, I would like to go to past Council Chair Alberto Sochi from Italy. And I have two questions for you, Alberto. The first question is there anything about your amazing Lions journey that you would change if you could? And the second is, what two things would you recommend to help open our doors to new and to young people?
Wow, two important questions. So for the first one, no, I think that all that is happening in all this year is part of myself. So I think that what I am after, so I have 42 years old and I'm into the association since 23 years ago. So I think that who I am probably part of who I am is thanks to our association, in the good part and probably in the bad part. So I think that all experience that I did inside of the association are part of myself, and no, I don't want to change nothing. It's all things helped me to grow up and to be what I am. And the second one is I think that the Lions, the goal of the Lions is to help the people. And sometimes this is not clean for the people that that see the Howard Association out of the Howard Association. Can you understand me? So it's to show them and that we are living for to help the people and to change them their life and to create a better world. This is what we would like to do. This is what the Lions want to do. And if the people out of the association will start to understand really what we want to do and which kind of goal we have, who can say, I don't want to enjoy the Lions? All the people will want to join the Lions, but they have to understand it. And this is our responsibility to show them that we can do great things with them, but for the future of our world.
Thank you, Alberto. Maddalena, I have a question from you coming from Vice Council Chair Hilary Kumnick. It's on the gap between LEOs and Lions, specifically on Lions being fundraisers or funders and LEOs being more service-oriented. To be precise, Past Council Chair Hilary is not questioning the opinion and that particular piece, but he would like to know how deeply rooted and wide-ranging is the view of Lions by LEOs, this particular view of Lions by LEOs.
Okay, so I came to this conclusion after talking with LEOs from all over the world during different events. I think it depends from club to club because there are also clubs that do a lot of hands-on activities. But doing fundraisers, it's also good. We as LEOs do it, but maybe we need to promote it more as Lions, that we also organize hands-on activities. And we as LEOs, we need to acknowledge that we also do fundraising. So those two activities are interrelated. We need to do both of them. And yeah, I think it's important to acknowledge this difference, but we can work out and make everything work.
Thank you, Maddalena. Thank you for the perception and for clarifying it. Kamisi, thank you for your magnificent presentation. I think that we have found the right combination, speaking with Lions and sharing their experience or their knowledge, and also sharing and speaking with people from LCI, their knowledge. I have a question here for you. It says, how can we find a better way to make sure districts report the number of LEOs and get them access to leadership development tools?
So I think part of it's a question I ask all the time, but I think part of it is just to have the conversation, and we're really reliant on you all to do that, because we will send emails, but we don't have everybody's email address, and we can be honest, how many of you always open everything that comes from LCI, right? So we'll send emails and we'll post it on our social media. But a lot of times what we hear is people find out for the first time when they're hearing it from their district. So if you have district governors or people working with their MD Leo chairs and talking with the Leo Club advisors about updating the information, that a lot of times, then especially during this time of transition, that new officers just don't know that they should do that. So if they get told to do that, then they will. And we're always happy to support between my department and our member service center, because we want you to be able to put that information in, because it helps us all and be able to track the growth. Did I answer? I feel like you had a second part that I didn't answer, Andrea.
Just a moment. Well, how can we make sure that districts report the number of LEOs and get them access to leadership development tools?
Okay. And then the other part that we've been working on really closely with John, who you heard from earlier, is identifying the types of tools and trainings that make the most sense for Leos and Leo Lions. We started with Leo Lions in particular because they've had that balance of being Lions and being Leos, so giving us the most information about what bridges the gap. But we're also working on a strategic plan for Leo clubs. And I would encourage everybody to think about young people in a strategic way in their area. And that's one of the areas that we're exploring, is what does training look like for Leos, and talking about that with a group of people that we put together, but also advisory panelists like Maddalena here to give us feedback on what makes sense for Leos and how we could build that out. So we're always happy to take your feedback if you all have ideas at leoclubs.org. If you email us, if you go to the website, you'll find all of our contact information and how to get in touch with your panelists and all of the people that can help you. But we're open to your ideas too, but that's absolutely something that we're looking at now.
Well, Kamisi, I just received another question, and I think that this is a relevant question, goes back to my introduction at the beginning. Should the Leo program be upgraded and stop being a program and become equal members like Lions?
That's a tricky one. That's a tricky one. I wouldn't say so. I think that part of that is that Leos were asked about that. I believe I've been here about a year or so, but right prior to my time, that they held some focus groups and had conversations with Leos. We've been lucky enough pre-COVID to be able to travel to some of the Leo constitutional area forums and talk to Leos on the ground about how they felt about that. And it wasn't actually a lot of support for that kind of a movement just to transition them. And I think it is about working past the distinction, because it seems to be a very strong cultural identity for Leos that does seem distinct from Lions. And I've heard that consistently. I was lucky enough to go to 3 different constitutional area forums in the last year. And that was a consistent message that I heard, that they see themselves as completely different entities. And so what we really want to work on with your support is that collaboration. I think Maddalena nodded to it, that the more people are working together, the Leos can see themselves as Lions, because right now a lot of them don't. And it is that difference between hands-on service and fundraising and the age gap, that there's so many things that if we work together to record, we won't need to have Leos just become Lions, because I think the club serves a different purpose, especially for younger members who need that time to develop and grow in a supportive environment, that we'll start to see the transition if we're able to work more closely together.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for this magnificent session of our symposium. I think that we are now ready to take our last but very short 2-minute break before we go into the last session of the symposium. So Maestro, hit the music, please.
Fellow Lions, welcome back again to this Lions Virtual Symposium for Europe. This is our final session, and we are just about to share a few points on the Young Lions Task Force and its work, currently in Constitutional Area 1 and 2. And then we are going to be taken forward to the future. To present the Young Lions Task Force, we have our very own host of the Lions Virtual Symposium, Lion Daniel Marnie Elkins. Daniel, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Andrea, and thank each and every single one of you for participating in today's conversation and virtual discussion about the future of empowering people through learning. So the Young Lions Task Force, for those who are not familiar with you, this is going to be a modest proposal for change. I'd like to speak about the potential for Young Lions Task Force Europe. So the North American Young Lions Task Force was put together in September of 2019, and it was a group of young lions from Constitutional Area 1 and Constitutional Area 2 who came together to discuss the potential opportunities and challenges facing LCI and the people within our constitutional area. Its purpose was to determine strategies and resources that would increase the prevalence and membership satisfaction of young lions in North America. Initially speaking, we focused on initiatives that worked on increasing young lion membership and participation, trying to get more campus clubs. In North America, we tend to not have the Omega Leo clubs that Constitutional Area 4 has. So we are looking at creating young lion clubs and charting and new and specialty clubs of people under 40, and then finding a way to promote this Leo lion transition from a Leo into a lion. So we were given an opportunity. There's 16 of us that were selected from around Constitutional Area 1 and 2, and we were given a chance to be empowered, to have our voices heard. And there is a story I would like to just briefly relate. On the initial sort of formation call, the international vice presidents of the association was talking to Lion Jordan Glass, who became the chair of this task force. And Jordan asked a question, and it's a very important question. And it's an important question that anyone who wants to have younger members involved in anything that they are doing needs to ask themselves. And Jordan asked, are you asking us to participate just because you would like to be able to say that we have young members participating? Or are you asking us to actually have a voice? And will you listen to that voice? Because if it's the first, we're not interested. And from that moment where they said, of course, yes, of course, we are asking you to give your perspective. That is a starting place. You have to empower youth and the next generation to actually have a voice, not just the appearance of a voice. Because ultimately speaking, younger lions don't want more seasoned lions telling us the things that we want. They want to be asked, what do we want? And then given the opportunity to share those things. Now, when I say seasoned lions and younger lions, on the Young Lions Task Force, I am quite literally the grandfather. I am the oldest a person as a part of this at the age of 41. So the question is, can we put together something similar in the other constitutional areas? Is this something that you would be willing to do? Because if the goal is to grow membership, we need to empower the next generation to have a voice. And here with the North American Membership Initiative, the next generation has been empowered to have a voice. our suggestions are taken very seriously, which is an important thing. We need to be able to provide pathways to leadership. What is the path of an individual who is just joining Lions, whether or not it's a new Lion like myself? I've only been a member of the association for 4 years. So what is the pathway to starting as a new Lion to ending up in which you have a role in helping lead your club, your district, your association? And then we have to be willing to accept change. And change sometimes can be painful, but it is necessary if we want to continue to grow. So there's a statement: the youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow. Now, Nelson Mandela said this. So I would like to share another brief story. I was traveling through districts, speaking at a various district event. I won't mention what district, but at this district, they had a young man there who had been a Leo, who had become a campus club president. And then after campus club president, he had graduated and he was maybe 28 to 29 and had just become a zone chair. And they were so proud in that district of that young man. And someone with the word past in front of their title came up and introduced me to this young man, and who had, keep in mind, been within the association and serving since the age of 14. So 14 years in the association. And he said, yes, this is our future leader. In 15 to 20 years, he'll make a great district governor. The light and the spark within that young man's eyes almost went out for a moment. You could see he had been serving this association for 14 years. And someone was telling him, in 15 years, you will be our leader of tomorrow. So never wait for tomorrow when it comes to empowering the next generation. Because what if tomorrow never comes? What if every time there is a young Lion or a young Leo that is looking to have a leadership role, you are pushing that off into a future date? And that future date never comes, because then they decide to leave the association and go somewhere where tomorrow is today. And that's one of the things that I think Vice President Brian Sheehan said on his presentation recently that he did. He said, Leos are our future and our present. They are our present as well. So just imagine the possibilities. If you were to, within Constitutional Area 4, within each of the multiple districts, reach out and empower and select one or two voices to join together on a committee that each of the multiple districts and the constitutional area would empower with a voice to listen to the things that they have to say. In your area, you would want to include the Leos. And then would you be willing to accept the ideas that come? Imagine the possibilities, the innovation that could happen. Is it possible to change things so that a Leo club could sponsor a Lions club? Could they create their own branch club and age into these new clubs instead of having to join another club? These are the type of questions that could potentially be asked if you just empower them to have a voice. The type of things that they could do is that they could help create new materials to target and young Lions and Leos, to get them excited. They could help identify new service opportunities, because as we've heard from Leo Madeline, it's a hands-on service thing that they want to do. So can they help find new ways? Could they advise on marketing materials, share effective ways to connect with young members, brainstorm ideas with the district? Or could they be used to also support and promote current membership programs designed for young Lions? This is the type of thing that I think you could have if you were to put together a Young Lions task force in Europe. We must imagine a better future while challenging the present. And that is, it is a challenge to be able to turn over the reins of leadership to those that are younger, to those that might think a different way, to those that might challenge us in our tradition. But this is how we build a better future. And on that note, I will turn it back over to our symposium conductor, Andrea, so he could introduce International Vice President Dr. Patty Hill to talk about that future. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Daniel. As I'm looking for my baton to continue conducting, I think that we have the perfect question now for not for you, but for all of us here. Are we ready to rise to your challenge that you have just shared with us? Speaking on that and speaking on the future, when you enter a room, there is usually a number of auras that you can visibly notice, sense, a number of people that draw your attention, attract, impose themselves with their knowledge, with their control of the situation. And one of those persons is our International Vice President, Patty Hill. She comes from leadership development, but she has great experience with membership as well, and with service too. She has a perfect collaborative leadership style, just for a leader to take us on the path of going and developing our future. So what kind of a future do we want, and what kind of a future do we are we ready to create? Vice President Dr. Patty Hill as keynote speaker to this Lions virtual symposium. Dr. Hill, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Andrea. I'm thrilled to be here today at the European Lions Virtual Symposium. And it's a good time to talk about how we move forward to the future. But first, let me say that I hope everyone is healthy and that your families are well. And secondly, let me say how I'm so impressed that you've found these creative and innovative ways to engage with your members, to serve your members through a virtual platform. So today, I'm interested in a discussion on how we learn to move our association forward to the future. What is that future? Now, we need to ask ourselves a couple of questions. Number one, what is the future we want to create? Now, let's not deceive ourselves. We create our own future. It's our actions today and our beliefs today, the decisions we take today that determine the tomorrow that arrives in our lives. We create the future. So let's hold on to that concept. But if we're going to be able to create it, what is the future we want to create? And unless we're going to get a carbon copy of today, what needs to change for us to achieve this new vision of our future? If I look to the wisdom of someone from generations ago, it remains true today. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. That has not changed. So what future do we want? Now, our past international director, Tone, talked earlier and reminded us that each generation has its own unique perspective, their unique priorities. So if we're going to talk about the future, we have to admit that we may not all have the same perspective and the same priorities. So I'd like to know who's in the room with us today. You know that I believe in collaborative leadership, and in order to collaborate, you have to have input. So let's start with you letting us know who's here today. Please tell us if you are a Leo, a Lion, or for less than 3 years, or a Lion for more than 3 years. Thank you for putting up the poll. We'll give everyone a moment to record their input. Daniel, how are we doing? Are we just about done with the input? Oh my heavens, look at this. 1% Leos, 8% less than 3 years. Welcome. We're so glad that you two groups are here in the room with us. And 90%, there's probably an extra decimal point or two behind that, are leaders in our association who've been Lions for more than 3 years. Well, that certainly gives me some information on which to frame some of my comments. But the next question I want to ask is, just for Leos and Lions of less than 3 years. Others don't vote. Please don't vote. Just our Leos and Lions of less than 3 years. What are your highest priorities that you would ask of a Lions Club that you joined or were considering joining? What are your priorities? And you're allowed to select 3. And you see the options that we've given you there on the screen. Now we know that in total, there's probably only 20 of you in the room with us. Daniel, how are we doing on closing out this poll? Local impact is certainly a high priority, but look at these others, a balance of that global impact, of opportunities that you wouldn't have if you weren't a Lion, mentoring and training and personal development. It's interesting, of course, a small sample, but only we have only about 20 of you in the room with us, but none of you chose as a high priority social connections. Okay, let's keep track of that. Now, let's go on to those Lions of more than 3 years. You get your turn for input as well. Thanks for launching the poll. Please go ahead and vote. You get 3 choices. Now let's close the poll and see what our results are for our more mature Lions, our Lions of more than 3 years experience. Oh, very similar. Global impact, 15% as compared to 17%. Local impact, 21%. Training and personal development, 16%. Social connections, see, that made it as a priority for 12%. Opportunities, 19%, and mentoring, 17%. So already we can see that our priorities vary. So how do we accommodate in a club everyone's different desires for service or service projects or personal development or leadership and training? So let's envision that. What would that look like? Next slide. Might we envision our Leos saying, well, I want a Leo club, a Lions club that Leos like. So they would go looking for a Lions club that meets their needs and their desires and their priorities. Otherwise, well, if they can't find that, they won't join it, will they? What about our Lions club that's already busy serving in the community? What are they hoping for? What's their vision of the future? I think the 90% of us who fall into this category of plus 3 years in Lionism would say, well, we hope in the future, Leos and young Lions will like our Lions Club. They will find us an attractive place to come and do their service. Now, I will say, as we've seen from these polls that we've already taken, is that if we want to know what Leos like or what young Lions like, we need to ask them. They're the experts on what they like, and they can teach us. Let's go on to the 4th and last poll that we'll do today. Leos and Lions of less than 3 years. You know, there are times when we need to learn from our mistakes. And as the older Lions in the room here, I want to ask you, you know, what are the detractors? What is it about a Lions Club or your idea, your conception of a Lions Club that you do not like? Do you believe that Lions clubs have too many long meetings, that they won't welcome your ideas, that they're doing service activities that don't interest you, that they have no immediate leadership or learning opportunities for you? Are they just too slow to do anything? Did they send everything to committee for 6 months? Will they not respect and value my experience? Is that one of your fears? Because as we've heard so many people say before me today, these young Lions come with leadership experience, with knowledge. And are you worried that a Lions Club will not meet your expectations? All right, so let's see what the experts have to tell us. 44% believe we have meetings that are too long. I know many of you can see these on the screen, but I'm going to read them because we have people who have joined us by telephone as well. Some of them, 31% fear that we won't welcome their ideas. For 25%, it's about irrelevant service. For 38%, it's that lack of leadership and learning opportunities. 38% also tell us we're not responsive enough. We take too long to do anything. 44% either know or you fear that you won't be valued for your experience and knowledge. Only 13% worry about your own expectations of a volunteer group. Now, these are really important numbers, and I think we should all be asking these questions in every one of our districts and our zones and our clubs. We need to know what young people want to tell us. Thank you so much for sharing through this poll today. So now, to you Lions who are at the symposium with us today, are we prepared to become attractive? Are we prepared to be the attractive club? And that may mean we need to adapt. Maybe adapt how we do our meetings so they're not so long as we've seen. And maybe we need to adopt new ideas, new service activities, or a new approach to mentoring young Lions. Maybe we need to change something about our traditions. You know, traditions are valued, but traditions evolve. So maybe we need to change. And of course, be flexible. There is no one right solution for any and all clubs or any and all Lions. So, having moved through this fact-finding part of the seminar, I will say this, and I've stated it on the next slide. Unless we change, we are not going to attract and keep more Lions or Leos. I'm stating that as a fact. We know we attract new Lions every year. We also have seen the statistics on how long they stay. You know, I thank Auntie for bringing forward that graph of the Lions leaving after only 2 to 3 years. So what is it that made us unattractive to them? What is it that allowed us to fail to keep them? And how can we change so that that graph, that future will be different? As we move ahead now, I reached out to some Lions and some young Lions and Leos because I believe that their voices are the ones that we need to be listening to. I will even say it's not that we need to empower them to have a voice. They have a voice. Perhaps we just haven't been listening to it. So first, I'd like to introduce you to Leo Rinste Peters. Many of you know her. She has served as the past president of the Leos of MD 111. And I asked her about her experience being a Leo. Can we share her response now, please?
Hello, my name is Rinste and I am from MD 111 Germany. And 3 reasons why I like to be a Leo member is because, first of all, our great community around the world. And the second is because of our amazing projects and fantastic activities. We serve with so many great projects around the world, and this is amazing. And the third is because of all the great friendships who are related to the great and fantastic community around the world. And I wish you all the best and greetings to all Lions and Leos around the world.
Thank you so much, Rinsta, for sending us that video clip answering the questions that I posed to you. And for those of you who are online on this symposium today, you know me, I pen in hand, I'm always taking notes. But what I noted was that she focused on the global aspect of our association, the service opportunities, and the relationships that are built as a part of being a Leo. So then I reached out to one of our young lions, in fact, a Leo turned lion who has also been a board appointee with Lions Clubs International Board. Let me present to you, please, Lion Kyle Boutillier. Lion Kyle Boutillier served on the board of directors for LCI in the past year and was one of two. This year again, we have two young Leo Lions on the board, and going forward into 2020, 2021, those new Leo Lions have already been announced for another year. So let's hear what young Lion Kyle shared.
Hello, I am Kyle Boutillier from MDA in Ontario, Canada. For me, 3 reasons I love being a Lion are, first of all, the service projects. I love giving back to my local community and making an impact. Number 2, the friendships. Some of my best friends are in the Lions Clubs, and I've made many friendships over the years, and I really enjoy this aspect of the organization. And number 3, the personal development opportunities. There are so many different webinars and seminars on leadership and other topics, and I really appreciate this aspect of the organization. I became a Lion when I was 18 years old, and I'm now 21, so I've been a Lion for just over 3 years from now. And for me, it was the natural next step to join the Lions because I was a Leo for 4 years in high school, and I had a great relationship with my Leo Club advisor and parent Lions Club. So for me, it was the natural next step to join the Lions and continue to make an impact on my local community. And I'm really glad I joined the Lions, and I do not regret it at all, and I plan to be a Lion for my entire life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kyle. And again, I'm hearing some of the themes we saw on our poll this morning, themes about learning opportunities, leadership opportunities, and the relationships that we build. I reached out next to a Leo from Europe, from MD 108, Italy, to, now Lion, Ignazio Anglani. Ignazio sent me his response to my questions as well.
Hello, Patty, and thanks for your question. I am Ignazio Anglani. I come from 108 multi-district. There is a 3 reason because I like so much be a Lions. The first one is because I can serve a lot of people all around the world, and especially in my community. The second reason is because in 2000 years I entered in Leo Club Bostoni. In Leo Club I learned a lot about association, and I improve a lot my education. The third reason is because I serve with all the members of my club, and we can serve a lot our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ignazio. I know you are also online with us today, but I hear you talking about serving around the world and in your community, about how you've learned so much and improved your education, and you serve with your members of your club. Again, rings true for those themes that we hear from young Lions and young Leos. So as we go forward, I thought we could focus on just 3 things. The first one is the global perspective. We're talking about attracting young Lions and Leos, and this is, as we've heard, the generation that's always had the internet, the generation that has always been connected without borders. They've always known within hours or minutes if there's been a global catastrophe or a major event around the world. They like quick response. They've also understood that we need global solutions based on local actions. Secondly, they want an opportunity to make a difference. They do not want an opportunity to eat a mediocre meal for a high price. They want to make a difference. They want to engage in service, and they want learning and leadership development. But they also want to give back. They want to share their skills, their knowledge, and their friendships. There's a third thing they consistently want. They want to be valued. They want to be a voice that is heard at the table. You know, in some cases, we need to encourage the formation of new Lions clubs if a very traditional Lions club in a community is not interested in change. We've talked about the opportunity to use the branch club model to find a meaningful place for young Lions and Leos to serve. But there's no reason they can't be part of our existing clubs, our existing specialty clubs, if we are willing to give them what they need to feel satisfied with their membership. We talk about member satisfaction. If we are not satisfied with the service we receive from a business, we don't go back to it again. If young Lions and Leos are not satisfied with their club experience, they don't go back again. So we need to be able to offer something that is meaningful for them. Next slide. Whether we're focused on young Lions entering our existing clubs, Leos coming to join our existing clubs, or any of those other options, we need to embrace the opportunity to think of learning as empowering. This is a great opportunity for us. We know that learning together strengthens our teams. We heard from John from LCI staff earlier today about all of the great opportunities for online self-directed learning. We also know that we continue to invest in and fund YLLS, our Emerging Lions Leadership Institutes, Regional Lions Leadership Institutes, Advanced Lions Leadership Institutes, and of course, we heard the YLLS in English as Nesim presented it, all these opportunities. But it's our responsibility, I believe, to share those opportunities with our young Lions, to empower them to take advantage of those opportunities, and not to tell them to wait until they've been here for 15 years before they do that. Next, learning as empowering is a way that we show that we value our team members. When we ensure that young Lions and new Lions have access to these opportunities, then they feel valued. They know that we've recognized not only their existing skills, but their potential for the future that we're building. With the Young Lions Task Force, which is less than a year old still in North America, we really did promise them that we wanted them to formulate their vision and that we would not interfere. Yes, that we would not interfere. We invited them, we gave them the keys to the kingdom, and then we stepped out of their way. Once again, I want to just state my firm belief that we don't need to give them a voice. We need to give a space for their voice. They already have a voice. And for 30 plus years, young Lions have been telling us that they don't find our clubs that attractive. That's what we need to hear. We need to open ourselves up to reality and envision a different future. Thirdly, learning as empowering. This is our opportunity for sharing our learning. All of you are here at this symposium today. So my question to you, especially because now I know 90% of you are mature Lions who've taken time from your Saturday to be here. Here's my question for you. Will you be sharing your insights next week at your club's online meeting? You know, one of our problems in Lions family is that we have Lions who like to take seminars, Lions who like to take institutes or workshops, but then they never go home and share. Now, obviously, that's not you, okay? You're here because you're willing to share. But if we're going to empower our clubs to build that future that we can envision, then we have to share what we've learned. So I ask you right now, take your pen and your note paper and reflect. What are some of the key learnings from today, the key insights that rang true for you that you want to share with your Lions? I'm going to suggest a few ideas. Idea number one, we need to own the challenge. This is our challenge. It is not up to the Leos and Young Lions to like what we have to offer, you know, and if they don't like it, they better learn to like it. No, it's not up to the young Lions and Leos to learn to like what our Lions clubs offer. It's up to Lions to offer an experience that Leos and young Lions desire. What would that mean? We might have to own the challenge of modernizing our club. We might have to own the challenge of building a specialty club or a branch in our district. We might need to own the challenge of doing more business virtually. Are we up to the challenge? Idea number two. What would it look like if we said we're willing to change our club's culture? Our club needs to adapt and modernize, perhaps. So next week, could we start with the first question and reflect on this? In our own club, mine included, do we focus on bonding with new members? Do we simply invite them in, give them a chair, and then ignore them? You heard the young Lions and Leos I invited to send me their comments. Every single one of them talked about relationships. You saw the poll. Relationships are important to young Lions and Leos, but are we focused on it? Or do we assume that physical presence denotes a relationship? In fact, in our clubs, have we been doing social distancing for years and not in a good way? Question number two for us to reflect on at our next meeting. Do we encourage new members to learn and grow through active leadership in our clubs? Now, we know about online courses, we know about institutes, we know about virtual webinars, but are we giving our new Lions that chance to grow their leadership because we put them in charge of a project or a fundraiser? Granted, we did it with support, not ready to watch them fail, but with support. Question number three, do we balance the service and social connections with what we've learned young Lions and Leos fear? Too many meetings, just writing checks. Are we balancing what they want with what they don't want? And are we willing to make that change? And then we need to ask ourselves this: what do we offer that makes us the most attractive volunteer group in town? Because there are so many different opportunities for people to volunteer, to serve, but what do we offer that makes us the most attractive group? And if you're not sure about the answer because you haven't visited many other groups or service opportunities, let me give you an insider's point of view. We offer learning and leadership development. So focus on making your club the most attractive volunteer group in town. Idea number three. As we go forward to the next slide, you'll see that I've focused this as next month and every month. I think we need to ask ourselves these questions on an ongoing basis for lifelong learning and growth personally, and lifelong learning and growth in our clubs. Have we focused on acknowledging what are our attractors? What are those things that attract people to our club? Those we need to exemplify and magnify. But what are the detractors about our club? Is it being put in the corner? Is it that we really just don't offer member satisfaction to new members? So then what are the new options? What can we offer to those new younger lions or new lions, Leos joining lions? What are the new options that we could offer them that we don't right now? And in many places, we've learned from our surveys, it's as simple as sharing and communicating all the opportunities there are. But what are also the possible pitfalls? Well, okay, one of those is not communicating all the opportunities, not sharing, and not making it collaborative. As much as we as older lions have traditions and knowledge and wisdom to share, our young lions and Leos also have their traditions and their knowledge and their expertise to share. We can learn from each other. And I would ask Daniel now if he could cue up a short video I'd like to show you, because for our new lions who are online today and our not so new lions, let's admit that we all have more to learn. Daniel? With credits to Gottfried Mentor for putting that together. You can find that on the internet, on YouTube, if you'd like to use that video in your own presentations, because I know that you will take what you've learned here today and share it forward. So in closing, if we are willing to learn and share the learning opportunities, then together we can change the future. Thank you so much for your time and your attention, but thank you even more for what you will go forward and do in the future.
Vice President, thank you very much for this inspiring presentation. I would have added all inspiring presentation. I know that many of our participants are very much excited. We have a number of questions coming in, pouring actually for you. So let's start with the first. Hillary Kumnick, past Council Chair Hillary Kumnick is has a question. Can we find a way to better train ourselves or offer resources and tools on the skills necessary to transfer information from seminars and forums to Lions and Leos in our clubs and cabinets? Information transfer is a high priority for CADCA and some other organizations. How can we improve our training and tools in this area?
Oh, that's a great question. And we're really talking about envisioning a different future for us as individuals, where we take a different responsibility and a different role in paying it forward. A very formal thing that I would ask you to do is on every single club meeting is to put Lions information on learning opportunities as a standing item on the agenda. Every single time. It's not once a year for club officer training. It's an opportunity to have a space in your discussion to share what's going on, share learning, and to pay it forward. Even just to announce and communicate what's going on, or perhaps show a clip of something you've done on the Learn Center. The second thing is much more personal, because what you're asking about is forming a new habit, a habit to do something differently from the way you've done it before. One of the greatest tips I was ever given was to make what you want to focus on impossible to avoid. Now, many of you will find a time every single day where you log into your computer. Every single day. For one entire year, last year, I will tell you now the password for my computer. I could not open my computer until I had typed in 2019 Milano. I could not start anything unless I focused on 2019 Milano. Okay. Maybe your password needs to become mentor one person today. Hashtag exclamation mark. You know, set this up. If you are not a computer dependent person like many of us are, you know, is this going to be something that you post on the mirror in your bathroom, on the milk jug in your refrigerator, somewhere where every single day you are reminded what you want to value going forward? So on a personal level, set yourself up for success.
Thank you, Vice President. There is another question from Mario Lopez, and he says, as a university professor, I give my students a few guidelines of what I need from them, but I always let them use their own initiative. They do amazing work. Should we do the same with Leo clubs?
I believe we should do the same with Leo clubs and Lions clubs. If we enforce a top-down expectation, then we squelch, we squash creativity, and we also take away ownership. We should not do that to Leos. We should not do that to Lions. We've talked about the need to adapt things locally. I believe it was Nesim who said earlier today, do we throw out the old traditions or keep them? Well, he said, if the tradition is just which tie you wear, you can adapt. If the tradition is our ethics, our code of ethics, we will not change that. But within a framework then, within a framework, we should all give our Leo clubs and our Lions clubs that room to be creative and innovative.
Speaking of traditions, change, and perceptions, do you think that the perception that older and younger Lions cannot work together is accurate?
I think it is an observation that has been a truth for too many of our clubs because of a lack of power sharing. And yet I don't think that this is written in stone. I can envision a future that is different, because I can look at grandparents who work with grandchildren. I can work at parents who work with their teenagers. I know that we can work across the generations as soon as we have a trusting relationship with each other.
Thank you. And this is the last question that I have so far for you. And it says, what would be the first thing you should ask from a young new member after the initial induction?
How can we support you in your vision of service?
Well, I think that on that answer, that's the perfect actually answer to end the symposium today. How can we support you in your service for the future? Thank you, Vice President Patty, for your intervention. This was an amazing symposium and an amazing experience. I was so happy to be able to work with the whole team with you. Thank you to our attendees who kept with us for 3.5 hours long. If you have any last words, please, the floor is still yours. Well, if not, I think that we are done for this virtual symposium, and that we have made an amazing trip since the beginning of Lions Virtual Symposium and the Lions Virtual Universe. There have been events going on throughout the world, people gathering and enjoying the Lions Fellowship that we so much needed in this time of the pandemic. But we have also opened up new spaces and new opportunities to learn, which definitely empowers the organization. If the participants noticed, learning empowers the organization was dedicated to, was changing, rephrasing our Leo slogan, leadership experience opportunity. This will be our final event for this period of the year before we come back together with another interesting learning opportunity. But for those party goers, there is a fishing trip happening tonight at the Burmester Virtual Bar, whoever wishes to join, and that's also part of the Lions Virtual Universe. I thank you all, and I think that we are off to enjoy our Saturday with the families or with our Lions friends. Thank you for being with us. Bye-bye.